da, 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 We can't see what you're hitting, Dev. A little higher, please.
Thanos.
There you go. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Critically Casual, where I'm Street Cuffs, and joining me as always is our lovely Dev. Say hi, Dev.
America's ass.
You are an ass of American portions, yes.
Damn, dude, that was rough. All right. Oh, I saw my whoops. I still had my auto-tune on too.
Okay, so welcome this week to everyone's action-packed and, quite honestly, what's going to be hopefully a really long episode of Critically Casual.
More than likely will.
Yeah, so let's just hop right in here to this week's schedule. So, Danielle's words are blocking the schedule. Let me move them.
Oh, it's fine. You cunt. Just leave them where they were. You've always had them over there.
I know, but now I can't see what's happening. There we go.
Oh, who would have thought that ever happens?
I never thought this far in advance. I'm sorry. There we go.
So, our updated standings.
Yes. So we're going to start by revealing what our previous standings were. I'm just going to jump over to what our new standings are, and we're going to discuss those a little bit, our reasonings and why. Then we're going to hop into Avengers Endgame, the non-spoiler version, then the spoiler version.
We'll probably have, and if you're watching this for the non-spoiler part for some reason on like YouTube or something like that, we probably will have a long non-spoiler talk.
Also true, yes. So
and then come back and finish it because we've already discussed it. This could go 3 hours.
Yes, it very well could. I hope not. My family hopes to see me before Game of Thrones tonight starts, so which that is our deadline. We have to be done by 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so I can watch.
Well, we'll be done before then. I fucking hope. Jesus.
Oh, I would hope so too. At this point, everyone liked the graphics for today. By the way, it took me some time to do these. And
look good, dude. I like it. I like it again. You always go out of your way for the movies that mean a lot to one of us.
I wonder which one this meant the most to. Fuck if I know. I mean, I'm not the one in an actual costume. I just threw this together in 5 seconds. Can anyone guess who I am? Dev guessed Thor.
Oh, I already knew who you were, but I'm just gonna call you Thor.
Okay, then who actually am I?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah, of course. Blues and reds. That's all I've got.
So do I.
Yeah, but I don't have a big metal round tin to hold up.
Hey, fuck you! This metal tin has saved my life in airsoft plenty of time. If you look at it, like this thing is.
Yeah, I could tell it's not adamantium or vibranium. That one.
Thank you. Though in the comics, it does have it's an adamantium vibranium
alloy.
Alloy, yes.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So let's just
a partially acceptable answer.
Partially, I was halfway there. All right, so let's just hop in here, and I hit the wrong goddamn button. There we go.
Congrats.
Our initial MCU standings. Oh, I didn't realize how hard that was to read at first. Oh well.
Yeah, from 2018, before the week before Infinity War, when we went through all of these.
Yes, where we watched all of the MCU movies and went through everything. We ranked all of our favorite movies and all of our favorite villains and
all our heroes. And we did a lot of stuff, but this is the main important part.
Yes, where from 1 to 2018, 18 at the time, yeah.
Yep.
Where we had Civil War in first place, Captain America: Civil War, because it's a great movie. Basically, my reasoning behind why I like it so much is just the fact that it's just the actual clash of two major titans in a way that we've never seen before. And we can go on. And I'll explain a little bit more later. Then we have Black Panther. We have Thor Ragnarok in third. Spider-Man Homecoming in fourth. Doctor Strange fifth. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 in sixth. Because, we definitely thought it was better than the first one. But if you can't tell. Captain America Winter Soldier. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. and then the original Iron Man, and then the original Avengers. And yeah.
Yes, that's our top 10.
Yeah, that's all that's important.
Ant-Man, First Avenger, Age of Ultron, Iron Man 3, 2, Thor, Hulk, Thor, Dark World.
Yeah. So, those there. Initially how we thought, and then we had a debate for what... we kind of thought at first that this argument that we were going to have was going to take like an hour, maybe two, or like, where's this movie going to go? And where's this movie going to go? But I'm surprised we've become a little more civilized in our discussions.
Well, we already knew where our initial list was. It was placing these 3 other films, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel. We needed to place all of them into the list. Because we're not placing Endgame into the list because, one, it's opening weekend. I'm still going to be, very biased in my opinion. So giving it a year, roughly. Captain Marvel has had less time, and Black Panther had less time to be on the list, so... But we've had more time to meld those over.
But
that's why we've come up with the list as we have.
Yeah. So I didn't have enough time to come up with individual graphics or like GIFs or anything of where I was going to put everything. So I'm just going to show you guys our updated list. And pow, there it is.
I think it's a good updated list. It makes sense to what we feel.
So we'll start from the bottom and then move up.
Yes, that's a good way.
So we added Captain Marvel. We thought Captain Marvel was overall just a pretty okay movie, Like it was
it was about where like we said it was about like phase 2 level of like origin stories and stuff like that. So like it wasn't I think we both enjoyed Ant-Man a little bit more because one it had a little bit more of a comedic tone to it and it was a little bit more unique. But it was better than a lot of the stuff that came out in Phase 1 and also Age of Ultron.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's, yeah. And overall, like we said, there was a couple things that we thought were kind of weirdly in there. Some things that didn't really make sense. And it just didn't feel like a crop above the rest. So we just kind of just slotted it in there, right below Ant-Man.
Yeah. It just made sense to us, both of us, together.
Then the next one, which I can't remember where
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes, Ant-Man and the Wasp. There it is. Ant-Man and the Wasp we thought was overall better than the original Ant-Man. But not by too much. It wasn't...
And also not better than the first Avengers.
Yes.
Like, that's the big thing. There's Ant-Man is a fun film. But... it doesn't quite beat Avengers, but Ant-Man and the Wasp is right in that middle ground. So...
I misspelled a bit. I was in a hurry.
Oh well. We can fix it later when we actually post the list somewhere.
Yeah, at some point, at some time. Don't look at the spelling, anybody, at all.
But like we felt like it wasn't quite Avengers, but it wasn't worse than the first one.
Yeah,
so like we just it had its spot almost predestined.
Yeah, it wasn't really like the huge team up climactic moment that we were hoping for, but it definitely had funny.
I don't think it could have been that.
Not at all.
It was Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it did its story perfectly. Mm-hmm. But Avengers is the first Avengers.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Avengers being the first Avengers isn't enough to keep it in the top 10, Dev.
No, that was the sad thing. We came to this realization as we discussed the last film we had to add onto the list. Infinity War.
Yeah, Avengers Infinity War. So, this one, me and Dev we kind of didn't really discuss this too much. We were like, where do we think this goes? And
Yes. And we both have a different thought on it, so it literally landed in the middle of our thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do yours first, or do you want me to do
I'll
mine?
go first, because mine's more pessimistic.
Fair.
I liked Black Panther more than Infinity War, because with Black Panther, I liked the character development more. I thought they utilized all the characters that they had in there well, and I just felt there was more of like a cohesion of story as we went from piece to piece. Don't get me wrong, Infinity War is amazing, and it has a lot of great moments in the film that I don't think Black Panther could even try to come and fight up against. Like, there's absolutely no way the Battle of Wakanda in Infinity War can compare to the Civil War of Wakanda. Like, there's no comparison there. Those are the two major climactic fights, and clearly Infinity War's Battle of Wakanda is better. But I just overall like the story and the development and like the characters and the overall just design of Black Panther better. So I wanted to put...
You would have put it in third.
Yes, clearly just third place.
Myself, I would have put it as number one. For a lot of reasons. One of it is let's be honest, it's kind of like the only comic book film where it doesn't have to follow comic book rules of like, heroes win in the end, lots of development for our heroes. Instead, we can focus on the villain. It's, it's got the biggest, it's got the biggest cast of people. And it was the first time and probably the only time we're ever going to see something like that. Because Marvel Cinematic Universe is seriously lightning in a bottle. No one else is going to be able to do this again.
No.
It's seriously, it was just luck of the draw that the first Iron Man worked the way it did. And then they created something out of it. Like, let's be honest. That it shouldn't have worked, and it worked. So the fact that Infinity War is the first half of the culmination of what these now 22 films have done is why I hold it up as number one. And it's definitely where I would like to see it. But me and Steven are known to compromise from time to time. So if he wants it in 3, I want it in 1. We just put it in the middle. I'm still happy with the top 3. That's like, no matter what, our top 3 is solid, in my opinion.
I would agree with Dragon here in this instance, where even though Infinity War is the saddest Marvel movie ever made, I kind of felt like... I mean, everyone knows my opinion when it first came out. I was grumpy at it.
You were very harsh.
I was very harsh. And I still hold some resentment. There's still some of that in there somewhere. But it's mellowed out quite a bit.
Yeah, which, again, this is why we usually don't rate things until at least roughly a month has passed. Like, if we're going to do the Marvel list, like, that's something we have to do, because... One, Steven has superhero fatigue. I'll admit that. He does.
A little bit.
I do not. But I'm also, like, I'm a superhero fanboy. Like, let's be honest. I have fucking Marvel posters over there. I'm probably going to pick up an Endgame poster from the store. Maybe today. Who knows? But, like, I'm the biggest comic book nerd of the group.
I would say so, yeah.
And Steven's the most cynical and critical of the group. We're going to have different opinions. So that's why we like to let it sit for a little bit until we come to a point where we're not going to yell at each other over a film to place it on the list.
Yes. So, here's our overall list of our new standings. So, quick.
And also why Endgame's not going to be on this list until probably next year when we rate the
It'll
when we
probably
do the list update.
Our list update will probably be sometime after Far From Home comes out.
Yeah, I'd say probably the next film after Far From Home, and then from there we may be able to add that next one in every movie.
Yeah, because then it's a new phase. Everything's gonna start over. Watch the Phase 4 somehow become like the DC Cinematic Universe, just kind of meh. They somehow mess something up, and it's just kind of meh. Hi, Chasing. Welcome to the show.
You dare say that.
I was about to say, that disturbed you. I could tell that, like, oh.
No, that's not what's going to happen, and I have my reasons, but we can't talk about it until later.
Yeah.
So...
Are we prepared?
That's our list. I'm happy with our list. I feel like our list is solid. We joke about it, but Thor Dark World is always going to be at the bottom. I'm sorry.
I mean... maybe, just maybe, we'll find a worse movie out there.
Well, there's worse movies out there, but like the thing about Thor: Dark World, it's really the only meh one of them. Because like Incredible Hulk is at least a meh, like because the fight's kind of cool, Hulk versus Abomination.
Car boxing, yeah.
Dude, it's cool, all right? Let's be honest. Thor's the only one that's like, it's the only, all right, film. Like, the entire bunch.
However, that one, Thor: The Dark World, has a really great impact in...
Yes!
And, yeah.
they almost redeem it.
Oh, almost, yes. Like...
It's still, I don't think it raises it on the list, but it makes the movie feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Almost. Like, someone already talked about it, seeing the supercut where they have all the, like, when we get to it, we'll talk about it. Never mind. I'll talk about it later. Hold on.
All right.
I gotta wait.
We're going to switch over now. We're going to start discussing Endgame.
Non-spoiler.
Non-spoiler version. Slow, steady, nice and calm, where we can have a nice discussion for anyone who's listening to us and doesn't want to be spoiled.
Holy shit!
Dev, I'm going to tell you, yes. Absolutely yes. And here's... I've figured out a way to boil down my entire review into one sentence. Everything in Avengers Endgame was amazing.
I may cry.
You might cry?
Yes!
Mm-hmm. Like, don't get me wrong, there's at least 2 moments in the film where I was like...
I have one that I have an issue with, and I'm probably going to surprise you with it, but I have my reasoning behind it.
Okay.
Because it's not a perfect film.
No.
But it's the perfect culmination of all of these films.
Yes.
Like...
Oh, wow, Steven.
That's it.
What? My costume or my reviews in one sentence? What's the oh wow about, huh, Chasing?
I'm gonna oh wow that. Like, Steven, this is the first time I feel out of a Marvel film that you have been genuinely just like, all right.
But
all right.
I think you're missing a part in there. It's a little bit cryptic. There's everything in the movie was amazing. Doesn't mean I don't want more.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know how we would... Okay, I have 2 problems, actually, but
okay.
I'll talk about those. Those are more for the spoiler discussion.
Yeah, we have spoiler discussions for the nitty-gritty details.
Yeah, but no, this is it. This is what we've built up to. Like, you can't not love this film if you've loved the cinematic universe.
Yes, like, this film, oddly enough... I'm trying to not get too diverted into the chat here, but I'll be honest, I would have gladly sat there for at least another half hour.
I honestly, yes, having seen it twice already, the second time I was like, wait, has it already been 3 hours?
Yeah.
Towards the end, and I was like, this is my second go around. How the fuck did it feel even faster? What?
No, yeah, you're sitting there,
you're
just all swept in and caught up in the moment, and you're like, holy crap, man! I just also realized my window's open, so I should probably close that before we get to spoilers. I'll be right back.
Before your neighbors start hearing the spoilers of the game?
Hold on.
Spoil it for the entire block. But no, like, honestly, if you've watched any of this universe and understood what impacted it is the cultural phenomenon. This is this generation's Back to the Future, Star Wars: A New Hope, or Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. Even this is the movie, and this is honestly, it's probably got some of the most cinematic moments ever that just make it like, I think it's got more cinematic moments than some of the best cinematic movies in history.
There's definitely moments in the film where I'm taking a step back and I'm like, oh god, that's gorgeous. Like, right before the big battle, for instance, was great. Right, there's just like...
there's so many moments, and if you love any of these characters, you're paid off for loving them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you really are. There's just... every character gets some form of moment of love.
Yes.
And it's
done
right.
But yes. Like, every character that's in the movie and has a lot of screen time, yes, absolutely.
I will counter that when we get to spoilers with just, like, a few moments, alright? I'll say that.
Like,
I have a couple moments that I could be like,
I think
What?
there's one moment that you're gonna bring up that I'm gonna argue against. At least one
Fair.
specifically.
Fair. But like it's also like it does one thing I know Steven hates, but like there are some one-liney moments, but they're perfectly done. I feel like.
But there are better one-liner moments. Like I loved Hulk for the most part in this movie. Like it was weird. It was weird, but it was good.
It's good.
Yeah, and
There's so much of this film is tough to talk about without.
like everything in this movie is different.
I will say this: the trailers really only honestly show the first 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, that's actually something that's true because I went back and I watched the trailer. And I was like, "Huh, good on them." But there's
only like maybe 2 or 3 snippets from those trailers that don't take place in those first 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, and though I'll be honest, in some way, this easily could have been a 2-part film. Like this could have easily been 2 movies. Like there's a clear point in the film where like we could have split it and they kind of just feel tonally different, which it makes sense. But at the same time I'm not disappointed. Like there's
Well, I'll say that's part of the reason why I kind of love it and why I feel like it's the best comic book movie. And this is what me and Steven were talking about this before. I feel this is the best comic book movie. I'll say Infinity War is the best movie out of the entire cinematic universe. But this is the best comic book movie because it just its pacing is weird. It's over the top. It's rambunctious. It's big, it's loud, and it's crazy, but it works because of what it is.
Oh yeah. Like one of my favorite things about this film, and it's something that I'm gonna harken to like DC animated universe about, is at this point in the DC animated universe, every movie is connected with each other. So like it'll be a Batman movie, and then Green Lantern will fly by, and you'll be like, oh okay, see you later, Green Lantern, and that's about it. And you're okay with it because you know all these movies are in the same universe. And there's moments in that film where it's kind of the same here, where it's like they'll have a throwaway thing, like it's not a spoiler, New Asgard. That's a location where because they it's just there now because that's what's happened. It's kind of what you expected from the last movies from the last movies. So, it's just it exists now, and they don't really have to explain it to us in the context of the film because we, as the audience, just kind of understand. If you've watched
the first,
go ahead.
It's the first set of movies that you willingly participate in homework.
Yeah, like this genuinely. That's my only thing that I think holds this film back. Is it's the only Avengers movie that's not a standalone film. Like
no, you can't. You literally, I mean, you can watch it and appreciate it if you don't watch the other ones, but you will appreciate it far more having watched the other films.
Absolutely. Like
I think that's the big thing.
Like this film, unfortunately, due to my schedule, I could only watch it once. I really wanted to watch it twice, but I couldn't due to work and then more work. So, I only got to see it once. But I wrote down at least 5-6 pages worth of notes in my first viewing in the theater. And sweet Jesus, was it good.
Yeah, like, I can't think of anything other than, like, I know that sounds silly, but it's tough to think about another way of saying it. It's such a fun, good film.
I mean, let's see. I'm trying to look around here, and my, I think my one, this film has me contemplating a lot of things, Dev.
Okay.
Because there are 2 ways to review a film. I've been kind of reviewing, at least in my mind, there are 2 ways to review a film. You can look on a film and, you can review a film and you can kind of base it on what you want it to be in there. You can hold it up to certain expectations, and then if it doesn't live up to those expectations, kind of knock it down a bit. The way I've been reviewing films so far. And then you could do it the way some people review it, and it's you see the film and you just go based off of what's in the movie.
Yeah.
And those people will argue that you can't judge a film for what's not in it. You have to judge it for what's in there. And that's my biggest fight that I'm having with myself, is because I wanted more. There are things that's absolutely in there that I wish we could have seen more of, be it character-wise or just moments in the film or whatever. Just like, I wanted more, absolutely. And is it just me being a greedy? Is it just me being a greedy viewer? I don't know. Possibly.
I feel like it's you being a greedy viewer, but there are certain things that I can agree with on that, though.
But if
I will say, this is also, it's a blink and you'll miss it moment, but it is the first time as well in the MCU that a character who originated in TV makes a crossover.
I missed it. I think I blanked.
I will explain it in the spoilers, but you will have to have watched, I'll say what show it is, Agent Carter.
Okay.
But it's the first time that they've actually had that bridged, which is awesome.
Interesting. Okay. So,
like, it just shows what that film is doing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's I think my opinion on it is pretty obvious. I'm ecstatic. I'm so happy. It's what, honestly, it's everything I wanted that film to be. Like, I don't think I have, like, it did everything I wanted. Characters, arcs that came to where they were made sense. Like, everyone's arc makes sense where they end in this film and where the MCU will go in the future. Like, it's just perfect. Like, I hate saying it because it's not perfect, but it's perfect. Like, it's the most perfect imperfect thing that ever could be perfected. And that's how I'll put it.
Okay.
But it needs to be imperfect to be perfect, if that makes sense. Because if it wasn't imperfect, it wouldn't be what it is today.
Okay. I wrote down, one of the things I did in the theater when I was there is I wrote down, like, my immediate thoughts afterwards, and, like, I made sure that they were non-spoilery. But, here's what I wrote down, and I want you to tell me what you think about this, okay?
Okay.
And it's, Avengers Endgame, it was very exciting, emotional, and truly a great film to watch, and a good conclusion to our stories. It's very fan-servicey, however, we get to see what emotionally developed for our characters after the decimation, but not really what happened for the development of the world as a whole. When moments of the film felt rushed, however, it was emotional, it had a great payoff, and most of all, I just think key moments were a little underwritten. But no matter, it was a major payoff, and I can't wait to see more.
That's fair. That's a fair, that's honestly about how I expected you would. That's the most positive outlook I was hoping you would have.
That's the fairest I think I've ever rated a film.
That's the fairest you've ever rated a Marvel film.
Yeah.
After seeing it in the theaters. I'll counter you with that, because you've rated other films really well after the theaters. But this is the one. This is what I have been waiting for since the first Avengers film, when they actually pulled off the team up and they showed Thanos. This is what I've been waiting for. This has been that was when that happened in 2012, because the first film came out in 2008.
Yeah.
Which, it's crazy to think that happened in 2008 and it took them 4 years to get to that point, and that's only the first phase, and that's 6 films. It took them fucking 4 years to do the first 6 films. But after that, it's been, the next 6 took about 3 years to get done. And then from there on, it's been like, hey, here's the other fucking, half of this universe. Mm-hmm. Phase 3 is huge.
Yes.
But it has to be. But it's perfect. I can't say it enough. This is what I've been waiting for. On buses, I was asked about, comic book character stuff growing up, because Guardians of the Galaxy was talked about, or A different film was having like, oh, this character's going to be in it. What's he like? Hey, Dev, what's the Mandarin supposed to be like? He's a dude who has power rings. He didn't turn out to be that version of the Mandarin, which was cool to me.
Others didn't like it, but whatever.
Other people really hated it, and I understand why. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, that was some subversion. I didn't expect that. Thank you. Which I like being, those moments of unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so good. You may need to tally that at some point at the end.
I really don't want to. I don't want to have to watch us talk about Avengers Endgame for 3 hours. I'm living through it right now.
Fair enough. I mean, I have officially already used 6 hours of my life on that movie.
Worth it.
Dude, right? The first one I actually didn't get the chance to eat before.
Must have been hungry.
I was starving, but I had hit that point of hunger where you don't feel hungry anymore after a certain point. And I just went to bed. But like literally, it was after our podcast last week, and I didn't eat beforehand because I was setting stuff up.
That's right, I remember that.
And I didn't eat afterwards because we were discussing a lot of stuff. And so I just didn't eat beforehand. So this time I actually bought some street tacos because I went to VIP for both of these. And they sell street tacos there, and I was like, yeah, I want some fucking street tacos.
That sounds pretty damn good, actually. Ow, Dragon, that hurt my soul a little bit. But yes, street tacos sound amazing.
Oh, it was they were chicken tacos, and they were actually pretty fucking good for being movie theater food. Like, I was like, all right, I had that in an apple ale. Pretty nice. It was nice. I enjoyed, like, the second time I didn't have to care as much, but I did, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to, I wasn't worried if I missed, like, the first few minutes, or missed any of the trailers, because I've already sat through all of them, like, 2 nights before, so it was like, okay, if there's a long line, I'm still gonna get some food, still gonna get a bev, I'll still wait it out. But it's so good. It was so good. Like,
Just say the word, say the P word, Dev.
It's perfect! It is, man, I can't not! It's what I wanted, Steven! It's everything I wanted! It's everything I wanted for these characters.
It really, there's one moment at the end that I'm gonna try and kind of convince you. I want to try and convince you that the end of the film doesn't make sense, but it does all at the same time. But I'm going to try and do this.
If it's what part I'm thinking, I'm actually going to surprise you then.
Really? I hope so. Okay, do we want to move into review or
are we
ratings?
At that point? I feel like we're at that point where we're just going to fucking talk every amazing scene through.
Yeah, we're going to start from the beginning and work our way towards the end, I feel.
Okay. That's going to be so tough for me.
Unless you really want to go to the major moments right away and ruin the suspense for our viewer.
Fine. Fuck it.
So, do you want to rate it first, Dev, or should I?
I think we already know what my rating is. Let's be honest. I'm sorry, but like there hasn't been a film that has made me feel this way ever in my entire life. Like, Infinity War would be a close second, but Infinity War was a different feel entirely.
Yes.
And it's the only film that's ever made me feel that in my entire life. This film has made me feel something entirely different, which I have never felt in my entire life. I wish I could give it that.
Wish you could give it 100 out of 10.
I wish, dude, because it's everything I wanted. Like, this is what everyone wanted. Like, I hate saying this, but like, I'm gonna compare it real quick to The Last Jedi.
Okay.
The Last Jedi had a lot of people wanting certain things to happen, and none of it happened, right? Mm-hmm. This is literally the most fan-servicey fucking film, but in the ways that make it feel right and earned and just perfect. And it's just, I'm a kid in a candy shop watching this film. It's great. It does everything I needed. Because like, it's like the things that you wanted to be impactful still are impactful. The things you wanted to like last, and the things that you knew were like, it just does it. It's a 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Okay, so with me, like I said with you before, there's things that I want and that I can bring it down for, and then there's everything that's in it, and it's so goddamn spectacular. And I am very torn because the cynic in me would give it like an 8.5 or a 9, but the casual would give it a 10. So I think I'm gonna split the field and give it a 9.5.
So it's not a perfect 10 out of 10. But it's a rounded up.
Yeah, it's pretty
10 out of 10.
like,
hell yeah.
like, I'm sure by the end of the conversation, when we get to the podcast, I'm gonna call it a 10 out of 10.
Probably.
But like, this is truly like a film that we'll never see again, I don't feel. It's a mood changer.
There's no way we'll ever be able to do anything like this again.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel cannot do this again.
Not unless they somehow get the actors that they have now to last another 10 years like RDJ did. So,
like this is just what it is. Like this is what everyone has been chasing since Marvel started doing what it's doing, but no one will ever be able to recreate. No one. So, holy shit, it got a 10 out of 10. I didn't expect that. I expected, a 9.5. I'll be honest. I didn't expect it to go lower than a 9.5 because I knew you were fighting with yourself.
mm-hmm. Who is this in Steven's chair? It can't be Steven. I am Dr. Stephen Laughlin.
Stephen Strange.
Yeah, Steve with the V-I-N. Yeah. Like, oh god.
That's it though, dude. It's like, it's what we want. It's what I wanted.
I had a pretty big lag spike there for a second.
Fair.
Yeah.
But it's what I wanted, dude. It's just I don't know how else to put it. It's what I wanted. Are we frozen?
We were for a little bit, yes.
It's still frozen for me on the
It was a good couple of seconds. Like,
wow.
Yeah, but it's back.
Okay, cool. Oh my god, it's literally it's everything I wanted, dude. It's I don't know how else to put it. Like, I haven't felt this with any other film.
No, yeah.
Ever.
The only possible thing that might even come close to how this movie like rounds out its all the stories and everything like that is maybe like, I hate to compare it to, but like Game of Thrones, depending on how this season ends, because it has a lot going for it, understandably. But it's
the
not
only
gonna
other
be...
potential one is like Rise of the Skywalker.
Yeah, like Rise of the Skywalker.
If that pays off what it needs to do,
but
which
it has a lot to live up to.
It's got a lot of hurdles.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in its way, so we'll have to see. Is it time to go into spoilers? I think it might be time to go into spoilers. Yes.
Well, if that's the case, I'm. You know what? I just realized I'm on the wrong fucking settings.
You don't have. Let's get ready to spoil setup, huh?
Let's get ready to spoil!
I think it's really just an easy fix.
Okay. All right. So, for anyone who's here and hasn't seen Endgame, now's your
You need
last
to stop
chance.
now and go watch it.
Yes.
Please go watch this film.
Like,
For the love of God.
yeah. I'll be honest.
That, or you want to, even if you are here for the spoilers and you haven't seen it yet and you get it spoiled and you're like, I may not see it afterwards. Still go see it. This film, even if it's spoiled for you, see it, please.
I like the enthusiasm in chat right now. Last night around 1:30, almost 2 in the morning, I got a message from Dragon on Facebook like, "So Endgame was great, and I can't wait to comment to Storm during the review." I'm like, okay, so we're here.
It's. But I mean, we're here, dude. We're.
So, let's start from the beginning, shall we?
Dude, that was a rough start.
Yes.
Like, you knew it was coming. Everyone knew it was coming. Like, just from the trailers alone, you're like, they're dead.
Yes.
But it still was like, damn it, man.
Yeah. So
Feels.
this was a moment that I was like, I wanted to see something else, of course, in the beginning here. I don't know what I wanted to see. Maybe I wanted to see more of like the chaos of the world during
That's
this,
fair.
rather than just what happens to Hawkeye. But it's just that like what we do get here is legitimately great. Like it feels cold, it feels heartful, it hurts because you know what this is, and then there's just nothing that can be done about it. It's a man who's enjoying life with his family for the first time in years, and then
I did like seeing his ankle.
Oh yeah,
Monitor. I didn't catch it the first time. I caught it the second time.
I caught it the first time, and my thought was, what happened after that? Did he just sit in his?
Oh,
little
you know,
room?
Hawkeye could actually just get that off whenever he wanted. Like,
Probably, yeah. He's no Scott Lang. He's Hawkeye.
yeah. He's well. Scott Lang could have gotten out of it too whenever he wanted. Probably, he's a hacker. But again, these two chose to do that, so it's more of a choice. You know what I mean? They're serving their sentence. Is essentially what it is.
Yes.
Which is funny that Scott got out of his sentence before Clint did.
You know what? Yeah, you're right.
But I will say Clint did break into Avengers headquarters.
So did Scott.
But that one they let that slide.
Sure. Why? Okay. But yeah.
That was a few years earlier.
Yeah.
Or a year earlier or something.
So that opening there with Hawkeye, it was heart-wrenching. It was... and it made me cry. Right at the very beginning, literally, like 2 minutes in, I was like, already? There's a tear? Oh.
And then, dude, I liked this.
Oh, yeah, the football scene with Nebula and Iron Man.
Yes, it was nice.
I liked... It was cute to see, like, Nebula growing a relationship with someone else other than Gamora. Like, it took her a while to develop a relationship with Gamora. Then it took some time for the Guardians.
This was Nebula. This really, in a lot of ways, this was one of the main characters of this film is Nebula. Nebula has a shit ton of growth in this film.
Really, she does. It's quite honestly... I don't know what to call it. Like, she has more development in this film than any of the other characters, I would say, almost.
Development-wise, I'd almost say yes.
But
In
there's
some ways. There's some
development
others
and
who
there's
have, like,
resolution.
yes.
There's a difference.
I'll say that a couple others have development too in different ways. We can get to those, but like, it was nice seeing those two taking care of each other because those are two characters you would never really think about actually interacting like that together. But then at the end of Infinity, we're like, oh, it's just those two there. And so like, you know, we all knew how they were going to get back to the planet. They didn't even show that. Like, we thought that end credit scene from Captain Marvel was going to be in this film, but it wasn't.
I was thinking about that. I was actually kind of... At first, I went very back and forth with that moment. Not like...
That's fair.
Like, I was like, cool, it's not in there. For anyone who's seen Captain Marvel, they know what this is. We don't have to see it again in this movie. That's awesome. But then at the same time, I was like, wait, anybody who didn't see Captain Marvel won't know what this character is or what she's doing here or what her powers are. And then I thought about it again and was like, it's a fan servicey film of 22 films coming together, so it makes sense that they didn't spend time.
And also, if we
trying to
did that scene,
reestablish her.
that scene would have been way longer than what it was in the post credit.
Yeah.
So in all honesty, it's probably in like the extended cut of this film, like the one that probably ran 5 hours. But we don't really need that.
Doesn't mean I won't watch it if they release it.
Oh my god, I will sit through it. I will watch Infinity War, give myself a quick 30-minute break, watch the 5-hour extended edition of Endgame.
Like,
I should close this door because my brother is now out of his room.
okay.
And he hasn't seen it yet.
Well,
He doesn't really care about films, but this is one of those films that I want to preserve as much as I can for everyone.
My dad has seen it, but we also have people over right now who haven't seen the film, so I'm like trying not to scream about it, but I really want to.
Dude, but it's that's what it is, man. It's like,
So, but then going on, I really liked how Nebula and Iron Man had a thing, and it's like with the football game, the paper football game, and how she wins. It's like, did you have fun? And it's like the first time she's ever won something, and it was nice.
Yeah.
It was a solemn little moment that was like, wow, these characters have gone a long way.
yeah. I also did like Tony's break. Like when he gets out the plane, he's definitely more responsive to Steve being there. But like as he's dealing, he's on a shit ton of drugs during his next scene after they get back to the planet.
Yeah, let's talk about getting back to the planet real fast.
Okay,
Were you disappointed that it was Captain Marvel or no?
that's the only way that it made sense to me.
Okay.
That was the only way they would have made it is if, because one, from the trailers you know that they're lost in space. So the only person who could save them is Captain Marvel.
You don't think
She's the only one who could do it.
You don't think that they could have picked up Tony on the way to? Well, probably not. Like, do you think if they rearranged the timeline a little bit, do you think it would have made sense if they picked him up on the way to fight Thanos, or?
Then they wouldn't have a ship to go get Thanos, and they would be dead.
I guess that's
Space.
true. That's a good point.
You see, it's the only logical like explanation to get Tony back to Earth. Because Captain Marvel's the only person who can literally scan space at that point fast enough to find those two. Mind you, as they're using the satellites, they probably helped pinpoint where he was. So Captain Marvel had an idea of where he was.
I mean, it is space, the final
It
frontier.
is space, but if you know if you had a recent ping from their ship that you were able to pick up on, because essentially you could sonar space.
Yeah.
If you use sonar and see there's a little
I mean, it's difficult to do sonar because sonar is sound, and there's nothing
or energy
in
pickup
space.
stuff like that. Like you can pick up there's probably a way to pick up the trail from their ship in a way. You know what I mean?
Ion signatures.
Something like that. Something
Sci-fi
Something that there's a
explanations.
way to scan for them, or and Captain Marvel's literally fast enough to literally speed through our solar system, looking everywhere that could have been.
Captain Marvel actually was one of my kind of bigger complaints in this film when I think about it. Like,
I can agree to a certain extent. Like, she still doesn't feel. She still feels like an outsider.
yes, she is not really an Avenger of the MCU.
Not yet, and she's got some stepping up to do. Is what towards the end of this film, she still she is one of the scenes, especially with her when we get to it, is one of those moments.
Yeah.
But actually two of them. I'll say there's two like that. With her involved, but she doesn't feel. She's definitely very grumpy, but she's also understandably grumpy because she also has to take care of things on the cosmic stage.
Yeah, it's like I kind of wish we got to see more of her focusing on just Earth, because if we did get to see that, I'm sure I would have liked her more. And
yeah, we could have felt more connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just because she's. I think once we get to see her doing the cosmic stuff, I think that will also make her more impactful in Endgame later.
yes,
Her sequel will make her part in this better. Is how I look at it. Because she does feel disconnected. She's understandably disconnected, but she's she doesn't feel as much of the hero as you'd like her to be.
Yeah, and she's very much to me, she was very much just shows up when you need her and then gone when she's not needed kind of character, which I can understand. She is very powerful and such, but still.
They didn't want to use her as the MacGuffin.
Yeah, they kind of did for one scene, but
it's an understandable MacGuffin because I feel like that would have
It's literally like the big fight at the end. It's like OP versus OP versus OP. And I'll explain that a little bit more when we get to the fight a little bit later. But God, yeah.
But at the same time, I'm okay with it. That part.
Yeah.
But no, like it's just honestly, it's just she feels a little disconnected from
Yeah.
everything. Which again, she has an excuse for that in the movie, being like, not all the planets had you guys. I've been doing that, which understandable. So it's just it's it's one of those things. Like I understand why she's the way she is, but I want to understand more why she's the way she is.
Exactly, I get you. But let's
It's I want more.
Yeah. Let's hop back. So we get Iron Man shows up. He has a conversation with Cap about how he felt let down from their friendship and how he felt abandoned.
Well, I'll say it definitely. I feel like it was the drugs talking during that scene too, because like if you realize when he walks off the ship and he's carried by Cap,
Mm-hmm.
he's much more responsive to Cap. He's like, I tried. We all did. We all lost.
It was definitely just emotions and stuff. So.
And then when he's on the drugs, his inner thoughts are coming out, and he's like, "You weren't there. You didn't do anything." And then reality, all of us are like, "Dude, Tony,
I mean,
literally held the gauntlet back. Chill."
Don't get me wrong. In this little bit here, I'm only kind of disappointed with this Tony moment here, only because what we get later on isn't really thoroughly explained. Because we jump from Tony and Iron Man or Cap fighting a little bit, and then we have Captain Marvel say, "Hey, I'm going to go kill Thanos," and all the remaining Avengers decide, "No, let's go with them and go with you. We want to do this because we feel like we need to do it." And the only reason they're able to track where Thanos is because they have the same cosmic signature that was released when he did the first snap.
And they've already been able to track that stuff before because gamma radiation emits from it. Banner did figure out a way to track that when the Tesseract in Avengers. Mm-hmm. They've had the technology for a while.
Yeah. So it makes sense. I'm not upset by that. But
I'm just making sure. I'm just making sure it's explained for the kids.
So they track it back, and then they find Thanos in his farm. And I mentioned that in the trailer I thought the gauntlet was fake, but I didn't think it was to this extent. Where when they get to Thanos, they do what she recommended. By she, I mean how it should have ended. And they cut off his hand, so he can't snap. And then they look at the gauntlet, which has no stones in it, which is I literally wrote in my notes, "Damn." That's it. Just, "Damn!" Exclamation point. Just,
when you... it's a blink and you miss it. I caught it on the second time to see if there was any shots that you would... If you would have noticed the gauntlet didn't have any stones in it. And it's literally just a slight second. When he's setting down the kettle, his hand goes down and his thumb is revealed. And it doesn't have the stone. It's literally... You're not going to notice it the first time through. It was what I was scanning. I had to scan for it the entire second viewing when that scene starts. And I'm like, hey, did they really hide this that well? And it's seriously, you have to be eagle-eyed and be like, wait, that didn't have a glowing stone on his thumb.
I definitely didn't notice that it was missing the stones, but I noticed that something had happened, and I kind of concluded that the stones were the cause, only because, that the stones were the focus of what had happened, because you could tell by how he was walking. There was a limp, and it was he did something. He did something really big.
Yeah, because he didn't have the limp at the end of Endgame.
Exactly.
He was still walking. Mm-hmm. And, you're like... Part of me was like, okay, did it really take a bigger toll than he even realized? Was it just adrenaline wore off? And he's like, okay, I've got this.
But no.
But then you... Oh, my God. That moment.
What was it? It was a month after Endgame, or after Infinity War?
Oh, no, roughly. It's 23 days.
Yeah. So,
23, 24.
Yeah, we find out that Thanos snapped the gems out of existence, using the stones to destroy the stones, because he determined that he didn't want anybody to have any way of bringing back the people that were gone.
He didn't want temptation for people.
Yeah. He is inevitable. Thanos is inevitable. So
I did like how he wasn't able to move, if you watch it, he's not able to move this side of his face very well.
Yeah.
Because it's all, burnt up. He's just talking like this the entire time. Mm-hmm. It's just, this side is just almost stuck, burnt.
I mean, it's burnt and cancerous now from gamma radiation.
Yeah. It's rough. Like, I didn't realize how like, because in the comics it doesn't have that effect on people.
I think I would kind of agree with you. I had a thought about it myself, where I read people were talking about how the Infinity Gauntlet seems like it should have more power to be able to control it. And my thought was, it has the power to filter 5 of the stones, but not the 6th stone, because it's a magical thing created by the Dwarven Forge. I know when, like, they use it later on in the film, it's not the magic, it's just the nanotechnology. So it makes sense that it's more unfiltered and brute power, but
Yeah.
when you come down and think about it, it's like, damn, even when with the magical gauntlet, which is still kind of destroyed at this point, like, it filtered...
Yeah, it got burnt up after the first use.
Yeah, it filtered all of it except for, like, halfway through his arm. So it did some damage, but he was ultimately fine. And
yeah,
then,
it went up from here up to there.
yeah, and then when he did it the second time, it almost killed him. Because it was
Yes.
unfiltered, just stone power going through him, and it hurt. But, so yeah, then we get to see Thanos die. Just like that. He went for the... Thor goes for the head with Stormbreaker. And that's it. Thanos is dead. Another damn moment in my comics, but it's with 3 dots instead of an exclamation point.
Well, Rocket puts it best. What did you do? Like,
I went for the head.
and the thing is, it was one of those, like, it almost didn't feel good seeing it. It was one of those, like,
That wasn't avenging, that was revenge.
but at the same time, it was needed, but at the same time, it was one of those, like, man, that did not feel right. This doesn't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
And then me,
Yeah, this is my biggest complaint, I think, with this film, is the hard, cold cut to 5 years later. No development, no, like, storytelling, just 5 years later, and then we see Ant-Man luck his way out of the quantum realm.
Okay, we did get Captain America at a therapy meeting before that.
True, and him talking to our new head of S.H.I.E.L.D., Black Widow.
Well, that's later. That's after Ant-Man is out. It's when he's talking to one of the Russos. If you didn't notice, in the therapy session, the guy that's talking about the date,
Yeah.
that's one of the Russo brothers. Can't remember which one it is. I'm looking him up. Which one's the shorter one?
Anthony.
Is that Anthony? Okay. Then yeah, it's Anthony's the shorter one, then it's Anthony in that scene.
Okay. I believe so. I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty damn sure Anthony Russo's the shorter one.
Okay, then yeah, it was Anthony Russo in that scene.
But yeah, so like we get to see that little bit of development where we get to see how Cap has kind of moved on, but still hasn't.
He's helping people move on while not moving on himself.
Like, this is a moment in the film. This is one of the moments in the film where I question Cap and his mentality, but we're gonna, like...
That's fair. I'll admit it's fair, because I think Cap is also questioning his own mentality at this point. Like, he doesn't know what to think right now. Like,
So,
every time he's... Like, the plan that, they needed to do and it needed to work didn't work.
yeah.
What does he do now?
I don't know. He doesn't know either. He just kind of goes on and helps people talk. But yeah, the fucking rat is the part that I have the biggest problem with. This whole movie happens because a rat gets into the quantum realm van, steps on the power module, turns it on, and Ant-Man falls into the repo and doesn't get arrested for being caught trespassing in a police repo.
Well, he's actually who he is, but, it's not a police repo, it's a storage unit.
Like, either way, whatever it is, it's luck. This whole movie happens because of fucking luck and a rat. Like, I wanted it to be something cool, like how when Ant-Man returns from the quantum realm the first time, it was because he did something smart, and he did super, like, ingenuity stuff with the machines and the but no, it was he got lucky because a rat turned on the van. Like,
Yes.
and that saves the
my counter
entire
is-
world. You are the
My
hero of
counter
the
is-
movie, Ant-Man, because of luck.
My counter is,
Yeah.
and you're gonna hate me for it.
You
wanna know who saw it?
Who saw it?
Doctor Strange saw that happening.
Yeah, I know. It was the only way.
It was sheer luck.
Sheer luck was the only way that this could happen. Legitimately. Thank you, Doctor Strange, for somehow getting us on the right path.
Well, there's other paths where the ant doesn't do that. So
yes, Ant-Man lucks out because of a rat. He makes it to Avengers headquarters. He tells the living Avengers about the quantum realm and time.
we also get to see like what the other Avengers are doing. Like Gamora and Rocket are in space,
Nebula.
probably closer than Captain Marvel is. Captain Marvel's deep space,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got because she can go faster than a ship.
Yeah.
So, I mean, send her further away, she can get back faster.
Yeah, I'll talk about her a little bit.
And then you got what's her name? Fuck. Shit. Michonne. Her character. I'm blanking on her name now.
The Wakandan woman,
Yes.
I know.
Why am I blanking on her name? Okoye.
Okoye.
I
I don't have IMDb open. I should probably open that.
have it open. Okoye is, taking care of stuff over in Wakanda, obviously, and helping over on that side of the planet. She talks about the fact that there's an earthquake, and like, I love Natasha's like, what are we doing about it?
It's an earthquake.
It's an earthquake. We let it happen. There's not much else we can do. And then, Rhodey's also doing military stuff, helping with law enforcement best he can. And we find out that Barton is kind of doing some fucked up shit to some fucked up people. So you're like, okay.
Yeah, he's gone rogue, but he's also not rogue at the same time.
He's gone good anti-hero.
Yeah, but still, so Ant-Man explains everything. This is the part that I thought was weird, and I was like, so the first two Ant-Man movies were to explain a time machine.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey, listen here. Everyone knew it was going to be the quantum realm because
Yes, they knew it.
Let's be honest. We wanted it to be the quantum realm. We didn't want it to just be the
It
stones
could be the
reversing
time
everything.
Stones, yeah.
And so, and the reason why, and I love what they do during this 5-year jump, they set something up that makes it so we can't just go back 5 years ago. Because after Scott Lang talks about it, they go to see Tony, and Tony's got a daughter now.
Oh yeah,
Like, we can't just go back 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We can't reverse what has happened. Because if we do that, Tony loses his kid.
People have changed. Things have moved on. 5 years have gone by for some people, so we can't reverse that. So
And that is your anchor to why their mentality is what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they can't just undo what was done, because if they do that, Morgan dies.
But this moment though, really, like, I was like, holy fucking shit, because we get a thing where it's Tony has his little ranch with kids, and like, I was like, holy shit, look at the similarities between Tony and Thanos. He has a family with a wife and kid, and he has his own little ranch. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And
But it's so... And she was adorable. Like, Dragon has a huge point. Like, Morgan is one of those child actors where you're like, God damn it.
Yep.
Emotions.
She was super cute. And I actually liked how this movie had a different tone with its characters. That's something I didn't talk about in the actual review, was that this film, like, its characters are darker. It's a grittier film, and I really liked that. Like, the sheer fact that there's cursing in this movie from not
There's
only...
a lot more cursing than I expected.
Like, not
There's
only
a lot
from
of-
Iron Man, but from his
Son of a
fucking
bitch,
daughter.
shit. Like, there's a lot of times shit, bitch, and ass are said. Which, for a Marvel film, alright, hell yeah, let's do it. And I will also say, I'm surprised there wasn't a fuck.
Yeah.
They had a PG-13. They could have said it once, but they didn't, and I almost appreciate that more.
Yeah.
They had every chance to.
So, how do you feel about Tony just being so smart that he just kind of figures out time travel after their discussion?
Who else would do it? Like, Tony's the only person who figured out how to create a new goddamn fucking
Element.
Like, if anyone's gonna put his head to it and be like, let's try this way, and suddenly like because if you see it, it's still not a perfect. If you look at the percentage, it's a 99.987% success rate.
Stable. That was the part that I was like, oh, hey, look, he does they do a thing. Holy shit! And it worked. It was just like
that was like, I liked his reaction. He pretty much accidentally stumbles upon it. He's like,
he stumbles upon how to fix time travel using quantum mechanics.
He's like, and you see the debate begin. Like, and that was I think that's the best part of it. You see the debate begin.
That was such a humanizing moment for Tony, where he actually takes a moment to talk to Pepper and like, hey,
right?
I figured out time travel. You figured out time travel? Yes. I can fix everything. Do I stop here and just go on with our lives? Or
do I throw it in the lake and go to bed? And then Pepper's line is just, would you be able to rest?
Yeah.
And that is Tony's art, is he's not able to rest. He needs to save people. That is his thing. He's given up Iron Man twice now.
But he just can't stop.
3 times?
He feels
3
guilty.
times. He's given up 3 times.
It's-
Iron Man 3, after Age of Ultron, and then at Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
He's tried 3 times not to be Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. And
But he knows he can do it, so he knows he has to.
just can't get away, god damn it. So yeah, he figures out time travel, which I liked right before they did that with the okay, sorry, 5-year change. There's things that I skipped a little bit. Hulk.
Oh my god, Professor Hulk happened!
I like Professor Hulk. I kind of wish we got to see him becoming Professor Hulk a little bit.
Yeah, I can agree,
But
I'm also okay with this being the new form for him.
Yeah, but I liked it, but I kind of agree with Valkyrie. I liked either form better.
I can agree.
I liked all Bruce Banner or all Hulk because they both were great. But together they had neither of the things I liked.
What I think can be set up with this, though, is we can actually go into Bruce Banner's DID.
Associative idea? Maybe.
He does have DID, like, in the comics. It's what he has, because, like, a lot of the personas the Hulk takes on throughout, like, the different versions of the Hulk are just identities Bruce has in his head that he's had. And Bruce is, the Marvel's version of Split.
Yeah.
But instead of being, a bunch of one all-powerful version, Bruce is the only one without powers. Like, all of his other personas take on a Hulk form.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's got a fucking mobster version in his brain. There's Devil Hulk, regular Hulk, Grey Hulk, Professor Hulk. There's a lot. And so, to see this version of it, it feels like they're setting him up. If he gets a film on his own, which he deserves after this.
He won't, though.
But we need it. Let's be honest, he deserves it after
Maybe
this.
for something in Disney Plus, we'll see it, but, it's not going to be a major theater.
Something. We need something. I'll say that. A Hulk something after this, because they've set up a way to do, the fact, have all of a sudden, it not be working the way he thinks it's working. Maybe he's having, moments where he goes out at night where Hulk is actually in control, but he's not awake. Or things like that, Things that could, create... There's a lot there that you could do now with the way he's done it. So we'll see what they do with that. But I did like Hulk Dab.
Yeah, Hulk Dab. Hulk Dab. Yeah.
It's the first time I've ever dabbed on the internet, I think.
It's fine. Well, so we got cool Hulk Dab. We got the team coming together. We got Ant-Man traveling through time and well, time traveling through Ant-Man actually, but that was hilarious.
Well, that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah. Which definitely one of my favorite scenes in the film when it comes to jokes.
I don't know if Baby Me pissed on me
or
just me.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd is a goddamn gem.
Honestly, like, I wrote that in my notes. Paul Rudd for the win, because when the whole team gets together right before they travel through time, I'm going to skip a little bit of the details here. We don't need to go that in depth. Like, right before they go to start... Thorbod, yeah. Thor Lebowski.
Thor Lebowski.
Yeah, legitimately, I was like, he's the dude. He's legit the dude. And then they referenced it, and I was like, holy shit!
Which someone brought up, like, I think it was Screen Rant during their pitch meeting for this film. Like, yeah, we're gonna make a joke about the dude. You mean the guy played by Jeff Bridges, who was in the first, in the original Iron Man film? Oh, yeah. But at the same time, come on, man. Like, if you set up for a dude joke, even if Jeff Bridges played someone in your universe, you have to. Like, and the thing is, it's explainable. Doppelgangers do exist.
Mm-hmm. No,
so,
like, the sheer fact that they reference so many time movies in this film, like, they make every single time movie reference, even Hot Tub Time Machine. Like,
dude, I didn't expect that on the list.
Yeah, like, the sheer fact that they've tried to make the MCU world as similar to our world as possible, I think makes these characters more connectable. I think that's what makes the MCU so successful, is we as viewers can attach onto it better. But,
yes.
But yeah, we get to see one of my other favorite Paul Rudd scenes is when everyone shows up and Paul Rudd's eating tacos. And it's just Nebula, he's sitting there and then and everything's gone, and Nebula just looks at him and he keeps walking away, and Brody...
There's a moron on the landing zone.
Yeah, and it runs right next to him intentionally.
Stop, regular guy. Sized man.
Regular sized man. How's it going? And then Professor Hulk gives him 2 more tacos and moves on with his day. Like, that was hilarious.
They go get Thor. We see Valkyrie and Korg and Meek are all alive.
Fucking playing Fortnite, too.
Noob Killer 69.
I am the God of Thunder, and I will fly over there and beat your ass.
I will rip your arms off and shove them up your butt. Yeah, go ahead and cry to your father. Here you go, Korg.
Yeah.
Thanks, Thor. He's just... Oh, dude. Thanks, Thor. I fucking love Korg.
Korg's
like,
pretty
just
great.
that line. Thanks, Thor.
But now my question is,
So
what's going to happen to Korg and Meek at the... We'll talk about this later.
I have...
Okay. So we go on, we assemble the team, and then decide what they're going to do. They decide that they're going to jump back to certain periods in time using the quantum realm as a time machine.
I liked how they decided where to go for it, too. Like that, like, I like how they pieced together what everyone thought about 2012.
New
But
York.
Nat's literally just laying there, so there's 3 stones in New York at the same time. Oh, what? And all of us are like, we knew about 2, but yeah, there is a 3rd. Yeah, that's the perfect time to do this.
Look at that, huh? Who the funk? Huh. It's like, they even talk about it in all the films, like, it's dangerous to keep the stones near each other. We should keep them distant at all times. 3 of them in New York, within 20 miles of each other, like...
Yeah? You know what? Thanos was that close to having 3 stones, we find out.
He was... Yeah.
Like...
Thanos was almost 7 years earlier. Guys! What
Like,
a revelation.
Without realizing it, he was that close.
Mm-hmm. Except, maybe, I don't know. Do you think the Sorcerer Supreme, the Ancient One, wouldn't have rewound time if it came to that?
Maybe? I don't know. We know the Sorcerer Supreme, but we don't know her well enough.
True. Okay, so we know that we have 3 stones in 2012. We have Tony and Ant-Man working together. We have Cap by himself to get 1 stone, and then we have Hulk by himself to get 1 stone.
Do we want to cover each time individually?
I think so. Yes, we'll do times first. So,
Because like there's a lot of cutting between them, but you're able to keep track of which one's which just based off of they do it really well that, like, based off of which set of the cast you're following, you know which time you're in.
Yeah. So let's talk about New York and what's going on there first, I feel.
Well, should we say what the other ones are?
Okay,
or...
yeah. So
we got Thor, Dark World, so 2013.
Which is Thor
Asgard.
and Rocket.
Yeah. And then you got
2014.
Valmir and Morag.
Yeah, which is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. So
that
that's your
one's
breakdown for that.
Yeah, so Morag and that one is Hawkeye and
Nat is for Valimir, and Morag is Nebula and War Machine.
Yes. So, we're in New York, and we're talking about Captain America, Iron Man, Ant-Man, and the Hulk. It starts with them waiting until the Battle of New York is done. So not only are the released images that we saw online where the actors are standing in the Battle of New York at, like, the iconic moment, it's not quite the same. We don't ever see that.
You know what? I'm glad they did that, because that threw people off the scent real well.
Yeah, it did. I like that.
Because, like, there's that shot that they showed would be, like, you know, Tony coming to talk to Cap during that scene. Mm-hmm. But they don't interact with them for the most part.
Exactly.
And it's well done. Mm-hmm. And this is I think this is my favorite of the time travels. Because of just, like, one,
yes.
It's got one of the best lines. One, I liked the interaction between Banner and Ancient One. Mm-hmm. That was really good, because you learn why, like, You essentially learn that it's not going to be as easy as just taking the stones. You need to put the stones back as well.
Yeah.
Because if you take one of the stones out, you create a dark universe of it.
Yeah.
So you need to come back and put them back.
Exactly when you take them.
Yes. So, cool. It's a cool concept in my opinion. It adds more stakes to the situation than what was originally there.
Oh, too. Also, when this movie, I want to talk about its rules for time travel real fast before we get there. They state in this movie that time is not fluid, it's fixed. So whenever you change, like you jump back in time, your future is now that future kind of thing. So yes. Whenever you change something, the timeline has changed, and that's that. So what's happening here, when you're going through these movies, we're going to discuss, there's going to be some changes.
Yeah, and I think what they said is that essentially what I look at it as is they're creating branching timelines.
Mm-hmm. But they're still
no
on
matter
their
what, when they
own
return,
timeline.
They have to return back to their timeline.
Yes.
And they have to return the stones back to those timelines. Mm-hmm. So it's time travel. It's messy.
Yeah, it's intentionally messy, I think too. But
I mean, that's just in all honesty, that's what happens when you mess with time travel.
Yes,
it's
hard.
It plays a lot of series.
They did it okay in this. It was fun.
Yeah, time travel is really tough. Time travel it's why Rick and Morty have said that they're not going to do time travel, because time travel creates problems. It just does. But I like that, you know, they have that entire discussion, and, you know, Banner's like, then why did Strange give up the stone? And Ancient One's like, if he gave it up, then there's a reason, so I guess here. Just bring it back.
Mm-hmm. Right? Like, that was an interesting little conversation. I love that. I kind of wish, though, we got to see two Hulks in the Battle of New York, because I thought as soon as the Ancient One would push out Banner, I thought Hulk would take over the body, and I was like, but it was fine. Like, I thought he was going to be like, we don't want to do this, and she's like, oh, yes, we do. Pushes him out, and then suddenly, and then there's a fight between Magic and Hulk. I was like, but no.
Would have been interesting.
Like, what if we got a fan servicey moment where Hulk literally punches time? That happens in the comics. Why couldn't we have it in this movie?
Maybe it'll happen in the future.
Yeah, probably.
You never know. Because this conversation sparks something to the future that I want to bring up.
Okay.
That I can bring up actually now.
Sure.
The actual timeline, the main MCU timeline, doesn't have the stones.
Mm-hmm. They're gone.
Which means that whatever dark entity that she was talking about, whatever darkness there is, doesn't have that hold on them anymore.
That's a good point. So World Eater.
our next big threats could be because of like that line. I feel like is just so that they could be like, here's our next big threats.
It's like we no longer have a backup plan against the giant forces that we can't fight back against. So I mean, don't get me wrong. There's probably other things. I have theories, but we'll get there. So
I mean, we're getting a Celestials film as well.
Exactly.
So there's that.
So okay, so Hulk. We'll assume Hulk. We already explained Hulk. Let's explain Iron Man, Tony, Ant-Man, and Cap real quick. I really like this. So what happens?
America's ass.
Yes. So what's happening is it's the briefing where Tony comes into the office with Ant-Man shrunk down on his shoulder, and Cap is downstairs waiting for the elevator. Tony and Ant-Man are having a good discussion about blah 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 things this and things that, and one of them is how Cap's old suit doesn't make his ass look good. Like, not as good as it could be, like in the later films. But Ant-Man's like, you know what, Cap? As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass. Yeah. So, very hilarious moment, which then leads into Ant-Man catching a ride on the Tesseract and then
climbing up Tony into his hair.
Yeah, into his heart, into his machine and stuff.
Not yet. He's in his hair to start with, remember?
Yeah, he
slides down the face.
Yeah, he goes into the hair, then he slides down the face into Tony's machine, but we'll get to that in a moment. What happens when they're carrying down the Tesseract? A group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents come in and take the spear. They take a different elevator.
But if you know the MCU,
you're
not S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. You know they're the Hydra agents from Winter Soldier, and you're like, oh!
Yeah, you're freaking out a little bit on the inside, and you're like, oh shit, man, what's gonna happen?
I remember!
Yeah, it's like, what's gonna happen? And then we go on, and we get to see...
Hulk has to take the stairs.
Yeah, Hulk has to take the stairs.
Important.
That is important. Like, Hulk gets mad because they have all these people in the elevator, and Hulk's like, no, maximum capacity, take the stairs, and he's going down the stairs. We get cutaways of Hulk walking down the stairs like, I hate the stairs! And like,
it's the most Hulk thing ever.
So as the elevator with the staff is going down, Cap intercepts it and gets in there, and he's in the middle of all these guys that we know are Hydra agents, very similar to Captain America 2, for the elevator scene, and it's just like, hey, I've been told by headquarters to take the staff. Don't worry, I've got it.
Hail Hydra!
Yeah. And then he just walks away. And there's just everyone in the theater who knows the comic books was just like, at least in my theater. And like, you see Cap walking away with a smirk like, wow, that was easy.
Yeah. Part of me also wishes, though, he did kick all their asses.
No, I wanted to see them remake it. Like, they have another moment in the film where they mirror an earlier movie shot for shot, and it's like, god damn, that's beautiful, even music and all. So I would have loved to see that as well as like the whole elevator fight scene again. That would have been cool. But then no. So we're going on, and then as Cap's walking away, he sees past Cap. This is important because at this point, past Cap thinks it's Loki because in
Loki
the lobby
has just escaped.
Mm-hmm.
Because downstairs, Tony and Ant-Man's plan to get the Tesseract has failed because of stairs.
Yes. So, like, Tony, Ant-Man, our future Ant-Man, is inside past Tony's machine, which he still needs to stay alive. So, like, Ant-Man short circuits something, the Tesseract case goes flying by because
Loki notices this.
Yeah, he notices it. He's like, whoa, this is weird, whatever. And Tony starts walking away with the Tesseract in hand. And then... swam! The stair doors opens. The Tesseract.
Hulk hates stairs.
Yeah.
Hulk no one stairs.
Yeah. And it's funny because you remember at the end of Avengers Endgame how they're talking about like, let's go get a falafel, and shawarma. Yeah, that's like, let's go get shawarma. And when they're wrapping up everything for Avengers, like it just cuts at the very end of it cuts at the very end of Avengers, just them eating shawarma. But in this movie, like, there's this gap in between where they try to explain what happens when it's like, so here's all the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, here's all the S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, here's some Mad Guardian stuff, and let's go get some lunch. In the middle of all this stuff.
Well, you know exactly what that is? That's them. All right, we need to find Loki real quick. Where did he go? And, you know, what probably happens is Thor has to go get him, come back, and then leave.
Yeah, that's probably what ends up happening. So yeah, what happened? Like the Hulk gets the Tesseract away from our Tony, and he grabs Loki grabs it and then bamps out of there. So we assume, because time's supposed to be the same, like nothing's really supposed to change. I assume that Thor again finds Loki, and then everything's set back normal. But
yeah, I mean, Heimdall's up there being like, God damn it, Loki, I'm watching you.
Yeah.
I've seen all of this. I've been watching Thor this entire time. You think I'm not going to notice you?
Yeah, basically. So yeah, we get that, and then they realize, well, shit, now we can't do anything. So Cap, Ant-Man, and Tony re-meet, and they're like, well, what do we do now?
Well, you forgot the most awesome fight ever.
Oh yeah, the Cap versus
Talk about
Cap
how
fight.
they met. But Cap versus Cap is such a good fight.
They do the exact same things. They're very much like it's really
Ting,
cool.
ting, ting, ting,
Yeah,
ting. And I love that. Like,
I could do this all day.
I know.
It's like a call, just the fan servicey moments, man.
It was, but I love that out of everyone who has to hear it, it was Cap who had to hear it. Like, it's like
he's the golden boy, man. But this is
But
also
I love seeing that. Like, you can obviously tell this is like our Cap is so much more developed than that Cap, because that Cap was a no questions asked soldier. Our Cap would not have done that. He would have been like,
yeah, that Cap was like, why do you have the picture, the compass with this picture? And then our Cap was
Peggy.
like, yeah, a Peggy. And he gets so focused on that he gets knocked out from it. So,
well, not just that. As he's straight choke holding Cap, he's like, Bucky is alive. What?
bap.
Bap. Okay. That is America's ass.
Yeah, that was funny. As like the doppelganger, the person that they have in the Captain America suit, has a nice ass at the moment, and he's like, "That is America's ass," and he just walks off. So then the three of them meet up, and Cap and Tony decide, you know what? We'll go back to 1970, where we can get the Tesseract and some more pin particles, so we can come back forward in time. Do we want to pause there? Do we want to finish this story and then head on to the others? Or do we...
I think since we've gone with their story so far, we should probably finish their end of the story.
Makes sense. So they jump back to 1970. Cap goes looking for the pin particles in in Hank's lab, which
We get our Stan Lee cameo, the last Stan Lee cameo.
yeah. So we see our Stan Lee cameo. We get to see another de-aged Michael Douglas, right?
Yeah, the aged Michael Douglas. Still
A better
looks
one,
good.
actually.
Like,
That's
even younger.
Yeah, it's a far better de-aging than I've seen before.
Well, it's even younger, which
Yes.
I feel like it's even... I'm surprised it looked as good as it did.
Like, you could kind of see the old eyes under there, but...
Yeah, I'll say that's the only thing. Like, it's just his eyes look older.
Mhm.
Like...
But yeah.
Because, I mean, I've seen Michael Douglas in films before, like, you know, so...
So
Rose's Romance in the Stone, like...
Yeah. So we get to see Michael Douglas. We get to see that Tony goes downstairs where the Tesseract is, grabs it, runs into Howard Stark, his father, who's examining the Tesseract, and they have a big moment about loving your family and like not wanting to grow up to be an asshole, and like Tony gives
Parenting.
and Tony gives like the advice that is later passed down to Tony from Howard. So like it's very poetic, and it's very much, that's the moment for Iron Man. That's like closure. That was the one thing he needed to be able to settle the movie for himself. So knowing that his dad did actually love him.
And he always did know, but he just...
Never heard him.
His dad was taken away from him.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't get to really hear it. He never got to, like, have that moment with his dad.
Yeah.
That he wanted. So
we get that, and then we also get to see Cap run into Peggy's office, where he
and see Peggy through a window.
Yeah, because he runs into Peggy's office only because he's being chased by this one lady who happens to realize that they're not supposed to be there, and she calls security.
Which, no offense, they didn't have the sunglasses on for their disguises, so Cap's disguise didn't work. He didn't also have a hoodie on.
True.
So
He had the hat, but he didn't have the... Yeah. So
he didn't have the hoodie or glasses. So he had the glasses right here, which doesn't count.
So yeah.
Sorry, I'm making a jab at Marvel's
Ant-Man
disguise.
So he walks into Peggy's office, see that she still has a picture of him. He falls in love again, like seeing her.
He's always been in love with her.
Yeah, basically. So he just sees her and it's like, oh, my love. And then he meets up with Tony and then they jump back.
Yep. After Tony has, one of the most heart-to-heart moments with Howard Stark. And this is when we get our connection to Agent Carter.
Was it Oh!
Edwin Jarvis. Edwin Jarvis shows up from the Peggy Agent Carter show.
Plus, I do like that. Plus, we get to see it's actually a body and stuff to the disembodied AI Jarvis.
Yeah.
The original inspiration.
Yeah, Edwin Jarvis is the inspiration for Jarvis. Mm-hmm. So seeing that was one of those cool. They've connected they've connected it to the show. They've done it's nice.
Yeah.
Damn it, it's nice.
Okay. So let's jump to 2013. This is Thor. Okay. So we have Thor and Rocket. Their whole mission is to get to Jane to extract the ether from her.
Yes.
And this is okay. This is cute. Thor is just having a meltdown. He is not the Thor Ragnarok Thor anymore. He's taken the loss of half the universe on his shoulders.
Well, it's not just half the universe. He's taking the blames of half of Asgard, which apparently the snap did not take another half of Asgard.
It did not? Okay.
So, from what it looks like, that is literally half of Asgard. What was left? If you really kind of pay attention and look at the numbers, it's it's about half of what was left
No,
when they had the
quarter.
ship.
It's a quarter.
I don't think it was a quarter because they had enough people to have an army.
True. But this was after they were brought back.
Well, oh, maybe. We'll see. I'm not 100% sure now. But how would they be there? Because that's another question I do have for you.
Yeah. We'll have to... well, we're not... The battle... Dude, we've already been talking about this film for 45 minutes, and we're not even to the battle, and that's going to be the big talks here.
We should probably speed it up then. So,
yes.
Do you want me to do my speed?
We can keep going for a little bit. I don't mind.
Well, I could do it in the speed rounds, if you want, until we get to that.
Let's just keep going, but not focus too much on the nitty-gritty here.
Okay, fair. But yeah, no, it's... Thor has one of the most beautiful moments, by the way.
Yes.
With his mom.
It's such a nice thing to see Thor also getting a resolution with his family, where he just loved his mom and he just didn't get enough time with her, and he gets the last bit of sage wisdom that he could get from her that he needs.
Yeah, and he gets Mew Mew back.
He gets Mew, which was perfect. We see Stormbreaker and Mjolnir, which fan service everybody wanted to see. But
yeah,
and then Rocket gets the ether, and then they bamf out of there, no problem.
Yeah, it was pretty simple.
2014, we have Morag with Nebula and War Machine. Where all they're doing is they get there and they discuss how they have to wait for Quill to show up and open the vault. Which they do. They have this discussion, and they see Quill and the opening scene of Guardians as he's singing and dancing to the song. Yeah, and he's actually and then they're just sitting in the background watching him. He's like, so he's an idiot. Okay. He's an idiot who's literally
I loved it.
Yeah. He's literally an idiot who's finding the Power Stone.
Yes.
So they knock him out, they grab the Power Stone, and they leave. However, because they're in the same timeline, the old Nebula is interconnected. They have the same interface, memory-wise. So the past Nebula...
they're on the same Wi-Fi network. Basically, is the best way to put it.
Basically.
And it's such a small detail that you can excuse them for forgetting to think about that. Mm-hmm. It's such a small thing that, if you're time traveling, it's such a small detail that you might not have even thought about being something that you might have to worry about.
Yeah, no one's used to cyborgs from the space. So, how do you think about that kind of thing with time traveling? So, no, yeah. They jump back in time, they're connected, and then Thanos sees this conversation and realizes something's up. And that's about all we hear. I'm going to pause there for now so we can explain what happens in Vormir.
Okay.
So Vormir, it's Black Widow and Hawkeye. They walk up, they see Red Skull. Red Skull's like, hey, do your thing, you know, the thing that Thanos did, where he kills somebody he loves. They literally fight over who's going to do it, and Black Widow
It was a little cheesy.
I mean, I agree with you, yes, but it was very sweet. It was good to see them connecting, like, ways that we hadn't seen since, like, the first time we saw them on screen together.
And also, I'll say this, they set up the Black Widow film to be the prequel.
Yeah, that's something I wanted to talk to you about.
Well, not just that. I'm more saying just from the line, Ivan.
Mm-hmm.
They set that up as potentially being a prequel line. I'm also curious, I could discuss this more at the end as to something else as well, potentially, but I think they set it up, they set that line in there to be like, prequel!
Yeah. So I believe you. I believe the Black Widow movie is going to be a prequel. That's something I wanted to talk about towards the end here. After all this review, I want to talk about our predictions for MCU things. So they fight over...
Black Widow died.
Yeah, Black Widow outsmarts Hawkeye and kills herself. Very much the exact same way that Gamora dies. Like, same pose when they land, same music, same timing of scenery.
It did not feel... It didn't feel right doing it that way.
It didn't feel right to see the resolution. Like, if it ended with her falling and then it, like, cuts away to, like, the light bearing and then he's just back to future time, I would have been fine with that.
Yeah, you could have cut that scene, like her seeing her body. You could have cut.
Yeah, you could have cut that.
That or change her pose.
It was
Something.
It was symbolic.
It's too similar.
Yeah. Okay. So he has the stone, and then our Nebula and stuff has a stone. So what happens is when they grab the Power Stone, Nebula and War Machine, they go to leave. The reason why I skipped this is because this is now the driving force of our plot. We're going back into our normal story. What happens is War Machine goes back. Nebula does not go back because she gets an interference. Our 2019 Nebula gets an interference. And it's her finding out that Thanos knows everything. She tries to let people know. She tries to communicate through time somehow, but they're already gone.
No, she's trying to communicate with Clint on the radio to the ship.
Okay. So, but Thanos knows. He captures our Nebula, which our Nebula and their Nebula switch places just because they look the same. No one expects the difference, and then they all come back to modern day.
Yeah. The Nebula is a spy.
Yeah. Nebula is now evil
2014 Nebula.
Yeah, she's still in love with Thanos, kind of thing. Oh, Father Thanos. So what happens here is Tony builds a nanotech Infinity Gauntlet. They debate who's going to wear it. Thor wants to wear it because he feels like he has to, but Hulk is the one who's most suited for it, being made of gamma radiation. Yep. So he puts it on. It's burning through him. It never really settles like it does with Thanos. It just keeps burning him. So he snaps. After the snap happens, Evil Nebula, releases past Thanos into the current timeline.
Yes.
But after the snap happens, we realize, hey, look at this. Everybody's back. And we could tell just because there's more grass and more trees and more sunlight. But
there's like actual birds singing, and then all of a sudden Clint gets the phone call.
Yeah.
Which, that moment when you were like, I was like,
yeah, this was very much...
Family back!
Yeah. So, that happens, and then they're all like, we did it. We survived. We did it. And then it's ended by a missile barrage because Nebula brings back 2014 Thanos, who doesn't even know what's going on. He just knows that these people have tried to fix what he caused. And he attacks and destroys the Avengers base with missiles, and then thus starts the biggest fucking battle that could ever happen, where it's so much fan service that everything is awesome. And
everything is awesome!
Yeah, we get double weapon Thor.
Well, I did like the side stuff too, with Clint running through the tunnels and running into the Outriders. With Clint running is great the entire time because he's like, God damn it! You get a fan servicing moment of Hulk saving everyone by holding something up, which is I think a nod to the comics when he literally holds up a mountain to keep everyone from getting squished. Yeah. But this is injured arm, one-handed, holding up part of the base, Hulk, who's hurt, getting flooded with water, trying to save Rocket and War Machine.
Mm-hmm. Which War Machine has to crawl out of his mech, so he can't walk to release Rocket, and then, yeah.
And then Ant-Man's trying to go to save them.
Which
you got Gamora from 2014 being like, "What happens to us?" You know, and Nebula from our time teaming up with her.
This was something that I thought was weird too later on with Gamora, but
what part?
well,
Something that has to happen later.
Happens later.
Okay. But it's one of those like it's a touching moment because this is a Gamora who's about to betray Thanos.
Yes.
And this is a Nebula that has betrayed Thanos, and she's like, "We've worked together. We can do this.
Mm-hmm.
We can stop me from doing something stupid." And I feel like we should explain these side things before we get into the meat.
Yeah.
That is going to be what I've loved.
So, like you said, you already talked about Hawkeye finds the gauntlet. He's the one who finds it. He gets chased down by Chitauri as he's running away.
Outriders, different. Sorry,
Whatever.
They're the far-armed, venom-looking creatures.
So yeah, he's being chased by Outriders. We have, like you said, Hulk, War Machine, and Rocket getting their resolution. We have Iron Man, Cap, and Thor together as they stumble upon Thanos.
The Trinity.
Yeah, the Trinity poster boys for the Avengers, kind of, really. Run across 2014 Thanos just sitting there, waiting for them, somehow. He just kind of had a feeling that they'd show up.
They're the Avengers.
Yeah. We run across Nebula and Gamora with past Nebula at some point.
Yeah, they run into... Because past Nebula finds Clint, and then...
oh, that's right.
They stop her from stealing the gauntlet by...
Future Nebula killing past Nebula.
Which I honestly feel is kind of a big step for her character.
Mm-hmm. She
straight up Kylo Ren's it. She
burns
moves.
the future.
She
Kill it.
destroys the past. Kill it if you have to.
Yeah.
And saves Hawkeye. And then during this, we get the fight.
Mm-hmm. So we get Thor, Iron Man, and Cap versus a Thanos who's at his prime. Like, he is driven. He is finally at the point where he's getting the stones and stuff like he wants. He's passionate, and he fights like a badass.
Yeah, we get the Stormbreaker Mjolnir grab from Hulk with the braided beard.
Thor.
Or from Thor,
yeah,
sorry.
That I laughed at, like when he grabs it, and he's still fat, but he has the braided beard that's kind of cleaner. And it's like, oh, that's a funny look for you, but it worked.
It worked, dude. It was a
callback to it called back to like his friends that he had lost.
Yeah, it was. It's similar to I can't remember his name, but the bigger one of the Warrior Threes.
Exactly what I was thinking of.
We get Iron Man suited up. We get Cap ready to go.
And
my God, this is an intense fight.
Like, it's just, I would say it's back and forth, but it's really not, because like Thanos, unpowered Infinity Gauntletless Thanos can fight off all three of them teaming up against him. And it gets better because at some point, Cap gets fucking Mjolnir.
Dude, this is the moment. So, like, Thor's getting, like, Stormbreaker about to be shoved into his chest. Because, by the way, Stormbreaker doesn't have the same, you know, only her worthy. Because Thanos literally grabs it out of the air and, like, oh, you want to use this? Here, have it back.
Yeah, like, shoves it into his chest the same way that Thor shoves it into Thanos' chest.
Yeah, he was about to do that. And all of a sudden we see Mjolnir lift up, and it's... My brain is like, oh, it's going... Thor's going to use it to, like, hit him in the back of the head or something.
Exactly what I was thinking.
But my brain wasn't thinking about the possibility
of fan
what
service.
I've been wanting for years to see is a Captain America shield and Mjolnir.
Yeah, and he's
God,
a badass with it. Like, it's
the movie theater pops at this moment.
It's so like he grabs it and he's so like it's so intuitive. It's just he's comboing the shield and Mjolnir together. He's throwing lightning.
Oh my God, that moment when he throws the shield, hits him, throws the Mjolnir past it, past Thanos, and Thanos is like, what are you doing? But he hits the shield behind him because he knows that the shield and Mjolnir make the sonic boom.
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
and it pushes Thanos back into him when he calls back the hammer and smacks him with the hammer. And it's like, it's so well choreographed and thought out.
That moment,
and...
it was so good because he like throws the hammer, smacks it back with the shield, or throws the shield, uses Mjolnir to bounce the shield back and forth and catch it again. And I'm just sitting here like, this is it. This is my Captain America moment.
This literally, like, if I was more of a Captain America fanboy, I would have been like, ah! But like,
I was sitting here. I was pretty much I wasn't bawling, but I was teary-eyed that entire scene. Like, finally, fucking finally!
It was legit. Like,
oh my god, that is the moment.
Mm-hmm. So the fight's happening. They still are getting dismantled, though. Like,
yes.
At one point, Thor kind of just disappears in the fight.
He gets knocked. What happens is that they're all comboing as best they can. Tony gets knocked to the side, and Thor's on the ground, and he gets hit upside the head. Yeah. So he's down for a moment.
So Thor's down for a moment. Tony's down for a moment. So the only one who could stand up and try to fight is Cap. But he's knocked down, and as Cap's trying to get back up, Thanos starts monologuing and is like...
well, you forget. This is right. He's taken because he's got his double-edged sword, as seen.
Yeah.
Here. And just starts wailing. Because the first hit on the shield that he really just puts all of his force into cuts down the shield.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the moment you realize, like...
Oh. Yeah.
And he just starts wailing on it. And you just breaks. See half the shield breaks.
Mm-hmm.
And Cap's knocked down. Thanos starts monologuing.
Summons the army. And he's like, I was just going to kill you guys like 50-50. But now you've decided to make me kill everything and start anew.
And I'm going to take joy in killing your world.
Yeah, like, I don't do this because vendettas or passion. I do it because it's the right thing to do, but I will enjoy destroying this place. Kind of thing.
But Cap does his thing. He stands up, heightens what's left of the shield.
I can go on.
And I loved this shot of Cap, half shield, still walking towards Thanos.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, you see the armies rolling down, you see the sky, like... It was such a beautifully well-composed shot, be it the colors and the armies and the juxtaposition of just sheer size compared to what's happening, and Cap's just like, I can go all day. I will fight you again.
You know this would be the moment he'd say it.
Uh-huh.
And all of a sudden we just hear, Cap.
And it's a voice that we're like, wait, what?
Yeah, I couldn't tell who it was right away, and then he's like, it's Sam. I'm like, oh, right, the snap, and they're back! Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden...
On your left.
On your left. And this was another moment that I was like...
That was my moment.
I was cheering but wanting to cry, because one, Winter Soldier is one of my favorite films, so like that line has impact for me. Mm-hmm. This is his Winter Soldier suit, man. And like that moment, and you know what? He was wearing the Winter Soldier suit earlier in the film. We should have seen it coming, you know? Maybe I should have seen it coming. But Sam saying on your left, and all of a sudden you see T'Challa, Shuri, and Okoye walk through the portal. His face mask come down.
This is
what that
Black Panther's only line. It was this moment in the film, by the way, just so you know.
Mbappe!
Mbappe! And they all charge.
Well, they start walking out like there's this march. Falcon flies through, and all of a sudden, portals.
Yeah, everywhere. That was the part that got me. I was like, oh, magic! Cool shit! Oh my god!
Then you see, the Guardians show up with, you see Drax, Mantis, and Peter walk through the portal, and with Stephen Strange and Spider-Man webs through. You see Ravengers and Asgardians. You see everyone showing up. You see the fucking Wakandans, the sorcerers, everyone. Yeah. And then fucking Pepper shows up in rescue armor, and it's like.
I like how they alluded to it early on, where he's like, where the daughter.
Oh, it was Schrodinger's gun.
Yeah, of course, but
or whatever it was. It's
Chekhov's.
It's not Schrodinger's gun. It's Chekhov's gun. Sorry, Schrodinger's cat is what my brain wanted to say, but that's wrong. But it was such a this is the moment, and then you see Giant Man burst out. Wasp is on the field. Everyone's there, and you're just like, this is the hero shot. This is the only time we're ever gonna get a hero shot like this.
Mm-hmm. And then,
the lineup.
Yeah, and then the battle ensues, and it's just...
Oh, but that line, though. Cap's in there. Calls Mjolnir to him. Mir.
Avengers.
And Thor lands. Iron Man lands. Avengers. Assemble.
And they all just charge.
Ah! It's just like... And you get one good shot of everyone. You have M'Baku, Panther, all the Flyers. Everyone just dead sprint.
Yeah, and this is when, like, carnage starts happening. Like, this is parts where you see our heroes do stuff that they've never done before. Like, fucking Falcon stabbing people with his wings, and, like...
It was so good, though!
Yeah.
Oh, my God! And just see all of it, and it was just... This is the hero moment that everyone has wanted. Like, this is the battle.
The best moment, comedy-wise, in this battle, the mix-up between... Thor and Cap.
They throw both their things, and
they call
Thor
back
ends
the
up with
opposite
Mjolnir,
ones.
and Cap ends up with Stormbreaker, and he's like,
No.
Here, give me that one. You take the smaller one.
Yeah, you get the little one.
God, but it was everything I wanted from that scene, and like during it, you know, like, all right, where's the fucking stones? Because like Clint's like, what do you want me to do with these?
As he's running. Spider-Man gets there, he takes them, and he starts running.
Yeah,
but
because
he
Panther gets caught by Ebony Maw, and Spider-Man gets them.
Spider-Man gets caught by just hordes, and he's trying to fight out of it. Like, he's holding on, and the machine's killing people, but the bodies are just building
he
up.
activated insta-kill, which was cool.
Yeah.
Like, that was such a line callback that we were like, oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And also during this time, like, Cap's like, all right, turn on the time machine, and, you know, Wasp is like, got it, Cap. That was such a line that I was like...
That was one of those, like, cheesy one-liner throwaways. It's like, that's clearly just a fan service line for sure, but...
But it was good!
Yeah.
It was one of those... Because the way Scott looks at her, he's like...
Yep.
You...
Yeah, basically.
And I'm just like... Ah!
So all hell's breaking out. Fights going on. We get to see the badass woman team up happen. Which
Not yet. Because she hasn't shown up yet.
I've tried to skip a little bit here, but...
Fine, but because you get the barrage.
Yeah, what happens is Scarlet Witch shows up, and she's the only one who's actually able to one-on-one Thanos. Like, no problem. Like, and this is a moment where, like, it made me kind of sad, because I had the theory early on where it was all the people who had powers based off of Infinity Stones would kind of have a role in this movie. And they did in some way. Like, Scarlet Witch, she has her powers based off an Infinity Stone. Very powerful person. But this is the first time we actually get to see some of that power, when she's the only one who could fight off Thanos. And she's, like, ripping him apart. But this also was kind of a disappointing moment for me. Because, one, it's not the same Thanos. So it's not like... when she's like, I don't even know who you are. You will. Like, that's a cool, chilling moment. But it's also, like, not as good emotionally, where she's not actually getting the revenge she wants. This man has no idea.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, and she doesn't even get it to happen. Like, the barrage happens because Thanos is losing. Like, he's being ripped apart. He's in pain. He wants reinforcements to, like, rain fire from above. And he kills a lot of his own units doing it. But it gets him free. And it turns the tide where he almost gets the gauntlet. But this is also where the last time we see Scarlet Witch in this battle. And
Almost.
But that was kind of the disappointing part to me. It was like, she didn't get the emotional payoff that I wanted. At all.
No, but I wonder if we'll get it in a different way at some point.
I have
something I'll say.
They had a lineup in there at the end, which I want to talk to you about. So.
Okay. Something I'll say about this too is that, like, during this, like, Tony goes to Steven and he's like, Strange? Is this the one? And Strange's like, I can't tell you, dude.
If I tell you, it's no longer the one.
And he's like, God damn it.
Magic stuff.
And I liked that moment because it was very true to, like, Steven's like, I know what happens, but if I say what happens, it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. And so, like, you get like we get after the barrage starts like happening, you see the mages do their shield thing, start to protect as many people as possible, and all of a sudden the ship stops and starts shooting. I thought they were going to start shooting public areas from the way it looked. Like I thought they were shooting like towards people. As it starts shooting towards the sky. I thought they were shooting like arcs, but instead they're actually shooting up as best they can in that ship because some shit is coming and they don't like it.
And it turns out it's Captain Marvel, which that was also disappointing. She is a Deus Ex in this moment where, like, she just shows up and blows up the entire ship, saves Spider-Man, and is like, hey, Spider-Man, you have something I need. And then it's like, cool, you're strong enough to destroy an entire ship by yourself. How do you need help getting this gauntlet from over here to over there? Like, this is a moment where I was like Spider-Man at this point. I feel this changed him. And I feel that the next film, Far From Home, that's why it is the last of Phase 3, technically, and not this movie. Because
like, there's a lot of stuff that happens in this that affects him, and also, like, he's the perfect conduit to talk about what happened, how people adjust after.
Like, I honestly feel like it's going to be a very close callback. Well, I'll explain this a little more. Future predictions.
Yes.
When we get there. But,
they didn't reverse time, which everyone was going to say they were going to do, but they didn't, which makes me really happy. Because right now, everything that has happened before this has happened.
Yes.
Everything that's impacted, because, like, people who are dead are still dead. Like, the Asgardians that were killed during Thanos' raid, so, like, Heimdall, Loki, they're dead still. Gamora's dead still. Because it's not the same. The Gamora who helped out during this isn't the same Gamora.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the younger Gamora.
So, like, also, isn't she at the very end of the movie, by the way? Like, no? Okay, I thought so. I had somebody bring it up to me. I was like, no, she wasn't there, was she? We'll have to talk about it again. Okay.
But, like, all of the deaths that happened before this point mattered still.
Yes.
And the deaths of half the population still matters, because it's like, changed the game.
There are literally monuments for the people who have died. So there's going to be constant reminders of the people who are dead around them.
But they're back.
Yes.
It's going to be a complicated world for the future. But it's a different world, and it's a better world. And also, like, the other major thing is that, like, Peter is the perfect conduit for this.
Gamora was there at the very end. I thought so. She talked about the knife fight.
No, she wasn't there.
Pretty sure she was. She and Mantis were talking about it with Nebula.
No, that was Nebula. It's more like.
No, I agree with you. Gamora shouldn't be there.
She wasn't there.
Okay.
Why would Peter Quill have a thing on his thing?
Because it's not the same Gamora. Because it's not his Gamora. It's a different Gamora.
Yeah, his Gamora's still dead.
Yes, but I thought there was a Gamora. I could have sworn I saw Gamora in the background.
No.
This will be just like the Dragons moment, where How to Train Your Dragons.
She's not. I've seen the film twice.
I know. Like, I thought I saw her when I saw her, and I was like, no, it can't be. That's not possible. And then when I talked to other people, they're like, yeah, she was in there. I was like, it can't be possible. It's not the right Gamora. Can't be there. So
she can't be there because that Gamora is dead, and the only Gamora that exists is the 2014 Gamora, which is what Peter Quill has on the searching thing when he's on the searching thing.
But, like,
she didn't survive. Gamora didn't survive.
No, she didn't. She didn't come back from the
Gamora's still dead. This is a different Gamora.
Yeah.
This is an entirely different Gamora.
This is the past Gamora who's now decided to work with the good guys still. Because she always didn't want Thanos to win.
Yeah, this is the I am about to enact my plan of betraying Thanos Gamora. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 Gamora.
Yeah, because things changed because she didn't follow Quill because he didn't have the Power Stone, because times were different when they knocked him out.
And also the fact that, like, they knew that because Nebula was there, so it changed the timeline.
But yeah, but I agree with you. Like, there were moments, because I thought she was there. I genuinely thought she was one of the people in the background telling Thor and Quill to do the knife fight. I know
it was Mantis, Groot, Drax, and Nebula, and Rocket.
Okay. I'll have to watch it again. No, there isn't a past Black Widow.
No.
because they don't go to a time where Black Widow exists for her to come out of the teleporter.
Yeah.
So,
Pretty
or
much.
the quantum
There's not a
realm
Black
device.
Widow that came through time.
Yeah,
essentially,
so-
from the past.
So Black Widow's dead.
But okay, so back to the fight. Peter is like, "Hi, I'm Peter Parker," and he's gonna be the perfect conduit to talk about the future.
Yes, absolutely.
And Captain Marvel, we have our heroine shot.
So that moment felt forced for me, but I still loved it.
I love it for two reasons. One, sure it was forced, but it's the super women of.
Yeah, it's the
Marvel.
only time we ever get to see every single woman on screen in the MCU. So it's really freaking cool to see. Like, I even wrote in my notes.
You want to know my second reason why I love it? And this, I'm going to steal it a little bit from Adam Cleary from What Culture.
Okay.
But he puts it this way. I know there are people who hate that scene just because of that scene. And I'm over here like...
No, yeah, it's very true. Any misogynistic man will hate that scene because it's in the film. Like, for me, I hate that scene because it just seems forced in there because what are the odds that in this giant world-ending battle are all the women...
I'll quote Screen Rant, get all the way off their back.
Yeah, okay, sure. But yeah, that's the only reason I don't like it. But
It's a hero shot, let it happen.
No, legitimately, when it happened in my notes, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Girl power, fuck yeah. Like, it literally says that here. Fuck yeah, girl power. Like, I'm not joking. So in the moment, I was like, that's really cool. But out of context, it's like, that's an odd thing. But okay, whatever.
It doesn't have to make sense because
it's the fan service film is what this movie is.
It's a fan service film. This is their moment. Let them have it.
So yeah, they get the girl power. We get to see Captain Marvel and them do their thing where she has the gauntlet in her hand and is fighting Thanos. And she's like kicking his ass, but they're
no, she doesn't have it in his hand because what she does is she bolts for the van.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thanos throws the spear.
Oh yeah.
Or the sword.
Either way, they end up fighting.
This is a rough moment because we get this fight. Tony starts the fight. He gets knocked over. Thor gets punched again in the fucking face, knocked out. And then we get him getting the gauntlet on and Captain Marvel versus Thanos. And this is one of the most satisfying moments in the film because she's holding the gauntlet open and Thanos has headbutted people before.
Yeah, and it just knocks them out. But she just...
And you see his fear. Like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And she's like...
Like,
Stop.
she is overpowering him. She's about to take him out. And the only way he's able to beat her is by ripping the Power Stone out of the gauntlet and punching her with it. Because he can't activate it while it's in the gauntlet. So...
Yeah. It was his only move. So he's got to... Because, the Power Stone's powerful. So you can't just move normally. Mm-hmm. So he's got to do that to get back. So all of a sudden we get the... Strange doing this.
Oh yeah, he's holding. By the way, Strange isn't actually really in the fight because after the barrage happened, water started to flood the battlefield. So Strange is sitting there, stopping the water from flooding.
Well,
and killing
keeping people from hitting him. He's doing some fighting, but only in his vicinity.
Yeah. So, but at like Iron Man, he's knocked back and he looks over to Strange, and Strange is like holding up the thing, and he's just like, what? Like the one moment he could be like, "This is it. You have to do it. This is your chance."
This is the one.
Yeah.
Everything has played out how I saw. Mm-hmm. Now it's down to the 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not really a 50-50. In all honesty, it's like the odds are not in our team's favor still. Mm-hmm. But the 50-50 is, does Tony act?
Mm-hmm. And what happens is Tony acts. He lunges, like Thanos gets it into the gauntlet, and Thanos goes to go do the snap. Tony grabs his hands and is like fighting him for it, and then Thanos backs him away, like smacks him back, and then Thanos lifts up his hand and snaps.
I am inevitable.
Yeah.
And all you hear is a clink.
And then he turns his hand around, and there's no gems. And then Iron Man...
Tony, power surging through the suit. And I am Iron Man.
And then, yeah, we get to see...
What a line.
I both loved that line, but like I thought it was the best line that he could say, but I wanted something else. Like I was trying to still combine it in a way to where it was, like time travel still made sense, you know? Like
yeah.
Tony didn't get the gauntlet; he just got the gems.
Yeah. It's nanotech.
Yeah, so being him and his nanotech armor can be whatever he wants. He is the Green Lantern of the MCU. So whatever he imagines...
Yeah, because his nanotech was able to combine with the other nanotech, and he could just kind of pull them all off real quick.
Mm-hmm.
All the stones. He didn't have to pull the gauntlet off. He just had to... Because it's his nanotech, so it responds to the suit, so he's able to just pull the stones through his nanotech.
Yeah, so... And then it reassembles in the... Yeah, whatever. So it's not the Infinity Gauntlet. It's not the actual, like, thing that has... It's just...
It's his suit.
It's his suit. Yeah. And he snaps...
in my opinion, I can understand what you mean by that, but it is the only line that Tony Stark can go out.
Yeah, that's the only possible, like, last triumphant line that he could have was, I am Iron Man. Because that's how he announces himself. When he...
I mean, that is the line that starts the MCU.
Yeah, literally. So... It's also a good movie that kind of brings the... It's not going to be the end of the MCU, but, like, it's the end of an era.
End of this part.
Yeah.
It's the end of this part.
Yeah,
it's the end of this saga, because after this, if you are a human being, you will at least shed tears.
Mm-hmm. So, we get to watch as the entire army gets dusted, like Thanos' army gets dusted. Which is cool, because Thanos... It's kind of the same way with Spider-Man, how it's just like, oh, I can, as long as I think and fight it, I can hold it longer. But so you see him fight it for a little bit, and he's just like, gives
I also
up.
think maybe Tony made sure that Thanos went last.
Probably, yeah. So yeah, and then he just sits there as he watches everything disappears, and then he disappears. Spider-Man makes it to Tony, says his goodbye. Pepper Potts makes it to Tony.
God, dude, seeing all three, Rhodey, Pepper, and
Mm-hmm.
Peter say their goodbyes was rough.
Yeah, and then we jump to the funeral, right? Yeah.
Well, we have that his ending monologue.
The goodbye Iron Man
between the
monologue.
different people. We see, we see Ant-Man and Wasp with Casey. Because Casey's 5 years older.
Yeah. So what happened? This like at the funeral, like we get to see Iron Man's like goodbye eulogy video, and then we get to see them at the funeral as they're going through everything, and. This is actually something I wanted to talk to you. I'm pretty sure they separated them. Of course, they separated them doing like via movie, but then we got to what I called the Losers Club, and it was all the people that had lost people, like Scarlet Witch, Bucky, and I can't remember who the third person was.
Sam. Those three were there.
Like, I don't think it was Sam. It might have been.
Yeah, it was Sam, because Sam was only in that group. It was Sam, Bucky, and Scarlet, because the kid from Iron Man 3 was right behind him.
I called them like the Losers Club. I feel like they're going to be in some sort of thing together at some point, because they're the ones who have nothing left other than what they have now. So
yeah, but like, dude, that was God. Like, because like, well, let's go back to the death real quick, because the line that Pepper says,
mm-hmm.
she doesn't say I love you. She doesn't say, she doesn't say all the cheesy shit you would expect. It's you can rest now.
It's really sweet. It's really sincere.
It is, man, and it's just it's that line that, like, you hear it and you're just like, damn it, because you don't want him to go, but you know he has to.
Yeah.
Because if he lived, he'd just keep doing it.
Mm-hmm. So
and it's oh man.
So yeah, Iron Man dies, and that's that.
We see how the world's repaired, though. We see a lot of different places around the globe.
We get to see people reintegrating in society, including...
We see T'Challa with his family.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was nice. We saw him with his mom and his sister in Wakanda. Wakanda looks great right now, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Looks way big. It looks bigger than what it was, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Which means I'm like, I can't wait to go back.
Mm-hmm. So, and then we get a bunch of fan servicey things like Jean Favreau, Happy Hogan, and his daughter talking about cheeseburgers. The first thing Iron Man says when he gets off the plane.
Oh, dude, that was one of those things. Like, what do you want to eat?
Cheeseburgers. Oh no!
My heart, my icy cold heart.
It's burning. Yeah, no.
Oh, and it's just, oh man.
Yeah, and then
like the fact that the reef that's thrown into the water has the heart, proof that Tony Stark has the heart
from the original. Oh god. So yeah.
Oh god, we're about to get to that. We see Thor pass off the torch to Valkyrie,
and then the Asgardians of the Galaxy.
Asgard. Yeah, and Asgardians of the Galaxy. I love that name.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. In a second. We get Cap's time travel.
Yes.
So this is the one that I'm a little confused on, but
okay, I can explain it, but I also
it's them breaking their own rules, but not at the same time.
Yes, and I'm also okay with it.
It's fan
it's
service
the one part
ending.
that I'm not okay, but okay, because come on.
So yeah, what happens is Cap, like Professor Hulk, Cap, and Bucky
Falcon and Bucky.
Sam are all there to send Cap back to return all the stones, however they are supposed to leave. He sends them back. We wait 5 seconds. He goes to pull them back. Nothing. He's just gone. He doesn't show up, and it's like, wait.
During the second time, I noticed something. I think Bucky already knew beforehand.
He was in the background the whole time.
Bucky knew before. Yeah. Well, not just no. They don't show that shot. They don't show that angle.
Okay.
The entire time. But I think Bucky knew
that he wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
See,
Bucky has this look the entire time that he's like, "You're gonna do what I think you're gonna do.
Mm-hmm. That's
why you're taking all this stupid with you. But do it."
My big thing is, I don't feel like this is a very it's a justice-filled ending for Cap, where he sacrificed himself for the future and gets to go back and live his life the way he was supposed to. Like, that's cool and all, but it feels to me like a very sudden, selfish kind of thing. Like, it feels more poetic to me if he just kind of came back and then just said, I'm done. But
Cap can't do that, though.
No.
There's only one thing that would make Cap stop being Cap.
Mm-hmm.
And that was Peggy Carter.
Which she definitely did, because when you think about it, there's 2 Captain Americas through all the bad things, like Bucky still being tortured and enslaved in the past, and Hydra still taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. and taking over everything, and the Battle of New York still happening,
well,
and
I have an idea.
He just lets it happen.
No, I have an idea.
What's that?
Cap lived in an alternate timeline.
Yes. So
his timeline. So he doesn't come back to where he's supposed to. I think that he maybe used the time machine from that timeline. And we're like, hey, I need to get back to my time, but without going back to where I thought I was going to be.
I don't think that's possible, because he's on a different path at that point. Like, I would agree with you. He has to be in a different timeline, but they broke their own rules here.
Just let it happen, because
I have to let it happen.
Shut up! This is what Cap earned, okay? I think it was Alana from Funhouse who actually called this as what Cap's end should be, is him getting that dance with Carter.
I mean,
and he gets it, and it's just, as someone who's wanted Cap to be happy the entire time,
he finally is happy.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. And he passes the torch to who I said from the get-go he would pass the torch to. Everyone's like, no, it's got to be Winter Soldier. No. Bucky's got to get the shield. No. And I'm like, no, it's going to Sam. I was 100% right. I've been right for years. Ha-ha! Sorry.
I'm looking something up real fast. So, theoretically, if Cap doesn't go into a different timeline, he's still in the same timeline, and he actually gets to be with Peggy. Is Cap the unnamed husband of Peggy that Sharon Carter talks about when Cap makes out with Sharon?
Potentially. But counterpoint to what you're thinking and how fucked up that is, he doesn't know that he's
Does that make it is ignorance
her
okay?
uncle yet. Because to him, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And they're not related in any way, shape, or form, blood-wise.
So.
But that is Cap's send-off. And then we get what I think is the best way to do these credits for this movie, was literally going through a shot of, every person's name who pops up that has had a major role. Mm-hmm. Their names pop up in front of, they're like a quick shot of what their character is. And then we get to the 6.
Yep.
And we see their signatures.
I actually wrote that in here. I was like, I really like the end credits.
See their signatures, we see their names, we see their characters. We roll credits all the way through. Mm-hmm. All the way through, and we just hear...
Ting. 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 So, I had one of two theories. Which one do you think it is? A callback to Iron Man 1?
It is. It's a straight cut from that. It's straight up the audio from that.
Okay, it was either that or it was the future with Gendry working in his galactic forge. Was my thought. Not Gendry, sorry.
I don't think it would be that. I think if it's for the future, it's a call to the fact that, like, this isn't over and that legacy will carry on.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was Avengers Endgame.
So, future talk.
Future talk. I don't have a screen for future talk, so I'm just gonna...
Well, we could just leave it during this because it's part of spoilers anyways.
Okay. Oh! Wrong button. There we go.
Spider-Man Far From Home will go over Peter dealing with the fact that, one, his mentor... He does not do well with father figures, so I feel like that may play a part with his relationship with Nick Fury in that film.
Mm-hmm. He's probably afraid that he's going to lose Nick Fury in some way.
Yes.
My theory is this is going to be very similar to Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, where he's suffering from some sort of PTSD and can't really use his powers to their full potential.
I think he'll be able to use his powers, but I don't think he's gonna not want to as much. Because like if you watch the trailer, he doesn't want to bring the suit with him.
Yeah, he just wants to enjoy being alive with his friends because he almost didn't have the chance to do that.
Fair. Understandable. You could be allowed to do that for once. But also the Call of Duty is always.
Yes.
Like that's the thing. And that's gonna be the lesson he learns. He's also gonna be the perfect conduit to live in the world of 5 years later because Ned, MJ, and looks like Flash and Betty from his school all got snapped as well. Mm-hmm. So they're all with him again. They're all in that time, which convenient. But if you look at the grand scheme of odds, understandable.
Mm-hmm. I was actually wondering about this. Do you think Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be the last Spider-Man MCU movie?
Oh, he gets one more.
I kind of feel like this should be the last one. Because we're heading into Phase 4, it's cosmic, and Spider-Man is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And
still need your connections to us.
He's still technically owned by Sony as well.
Yes, but, and I'm going to counter you with, one, Tom Holland has already spilled that there's a third one.
Okay, of course.
And two, you still need your connections to home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So you'll have Black Panther and Spider-Man as your two homes, if that makes sense.
Okay, and then we're just going to learn about all the other cosmic ones later?
Yeah, because we're getting the Celestials. Black Widow will be a prequel, more than likely, talking about her dad's stuff.
That automatically makes me want to not watch this movie nearly as much.
You don't want to know a counter that I have to that? I think what can happen is that during that film, Steve returns the stone, because it's a soul for a soul, right?
Yeah.
What happens when he returns the soul stone?
I'm assuming... I don't know. Like, it's...
Because my thought is, what if she comes back, and he has to tell her that she can't just go back to when she was going to come back. You know what I mean?
It's
because
possible.
She would mess up. No, she can't come back with everyone else.
No, I don't mean her going back is possible.
Oh, okay.
I mean that you're saying is possible.
And she can go back to being in... Because now she has a plot to chase after her dad. She has a name. They can figure out what the fuck happened and why she was turned into this.
So you think it's not necessarily a prequel, but it's a spin-off, kind of?
Prequel-y, spin-off-y, kind of its own
the way
adventure.
I think of it, if it's just a straight-up prequel, it's like how Black Widow became Black Widow. That just doesn't make me interested because it doesn't matter.
I do want to see Budapest.
Like, don't get me wrong. That would be like, it'd be. I just don't want to see a Solo in the form of Black Widow.
Okay, and I agree with you there. Because Black Widow deserves better.
Mm-hmm.
Solo deserved better. So
yeah. So
I agree.
That's like if this Black Widow movie is just an origin of how she became Black Widow, it just makes me a little uninterested because what happens in that film ultimately doesn't matter. Like, because the end of the film is past the resolution that we've already gotten to. Like, far before the resolution we've already gotten to.
Professor Hulk will be a stand-in going forward.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about the Loki spinoff that we've heard of. Like, Loki has his own movie coming out on Disney Plus, or a TV show, or whatever it is.
Show.
So, what is it going to be? Is it going to be the Loki's misadventures when he has the Power Stone from the alternate reality? Or is it going to be something completely different?
Who knows? We're gonna have to curiously wait.
Okay. The
other thing too is I know they're probably gonna rename the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Sam and Bucky.
It will be Captain America and Winter Soldier, which I'm cool with. Mm-hmm. And it makes sense that it also makes sense to have Sam Wilson as Captain America for that because one, Winter Soldier is a stronger brand than Falcon. So having Winter Soldier as that other boost to help bring in viewers. Sam Wilson also, it gives him the chance to have more development. Bucky has had a lot of development as Winter Soldier, not as Captain America. So, it makes more sense to have Sam Wilson have that chance to develop as his own character.
Mm-hmm. Plus, there needs to be something. Right now, Sam is just a regular human man with the responsibilities of a superhuman. So
that'll be a storyline. It'll be a good storyline.
Mm-hmm.
It should be good. Then you got WandaVision. I don't know what WandaVision's gonna be. Who the fuck knows? As
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Set up. Well, not just that. Asgard is set up to be set up for siege now.
Okay.
Which is when Asgard's on Earth, so it gets sieged by Loki. But we don't have Loki, so it'll maybe be something else. But we have another thing we can do there with Valkyrie as the Queen of Asgard. Mm-hmm. Korg and me.
We get female Thor in some aspect.
Potentially, we'll see.
Which
I also do like Valkyrie as herself,
mm-hmm.
as Valkyrie. I don't think she needs to be female Thor. She's strong enough to be her own in this universe. Black Panther 2 is going to probably deal with the aftermath stuff. Curious to see how that goes. Doctor Strange 2 will be interesting. See what he does in the dimensional planes. Ant-Man will probably deal with Cassie Lang getting powers.
Yeah, just being exposed to the PIM particles for so long.
Potentially, yeah. We'll see how that goes. It'll be cool. But they set her up to be Kevin Feige said that they planted the seeds in young Cassie to make her into who she will be as adult Cassie. So cool. And Clint is gonna help create Kate Bishop during the Hawkeye series that we're getting, mm-hmm. which will be great because Hawkeye deserves some development. Beyond family.
I was about to say because Hawkeye really, I wish the opening scene in Endgame was something different, but what we got was needed for what our Hawkeye was in this film.
Yeah. So. And it'll be interesting to see him because I bet he's going to deal with some remorse over his decisions during this time. And we'll also get as Guardians of the Galaxy, which will be the Guardians of the Galaxy searching for Gamora because she's not there with Thor.
So, question. Is as Guardians of the Galaxy going to be Guardians of the Galaxy 3 or is it going to be 4?
I think Thor will get his own movie on the side.
Okay.
For Thor.
As he becomes the next Odin, would be my guess. But
well, no, he's tried that, and that's the thing. He's not his arc right now is not becoming Odin. It's finally figuring out who he is. Because that's the big thing. His arc has been since Ragnarok is that he's had to develop into a way that he's not.
He's like, I don't want to be the ruler, but I can be. And now he's like, I don't want to be the ruler, and I really shouldn't be.
Yeah, his character has gone through a lot of development, and he's finally like. I honestly feel like this is Thor at the start of his journey. Like, Thor 1 and 2 happened, sure. But this has all been built up to Thor kind of doing something different, doing something with himself that you wouldn't expect. So, and having him help the Guardians would be kind of cool to see, and it makes the universe feel very connected. And then have Thor leave at the end of Guardians 3, sure. And so, like, the plot line will probably be hunting down Gamora while being chased by Adam Warlock.
That'd be interesting.
It'll be fun. I think it'll be good. Maybe Thor gets kicked off the ship, and then that's how they explain him, wherever he's got to be. So, yeah, no, there's a lot of potential, and I'm looking forward to it. We got the Celestials lined up too, so we'll see how that goes. It's cool. Like I'm looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to it too.
So,
is there anything else we want to talk about in this Endgame analysis, or are we good here?
Go see the film.
Go see the film.
This is a once-in-a-lifetime film. You won't get another opportunity.
I agree. Like this just does things that I am very happy with, and just good. It's just good. It's just good. And with that in mind, let's just hop over to the news and kind of just round this out real fast.
Yeah.
So, because as people have noted, it is almost, we've almost reached the same runtime as Endgame. Which, sure.
We thought we might.
Yeah, we thought we might. It was going to happen, probably. So, I don't really have any major news. Other than announcing our movies for next month.
Yes.
So, I did quickly throw together a poster here. Which
I'm impressed.
You're not going to be impressed once you see it, but I really enjoyed making it. Next month, I have decided to call it Totally Original Movies Month. And I've made a totally original poster for it. Using Comic Sans and everything.
Oh, Lanta.
Let me move over a little bit so people can see my face. But, yeah, so week 1, May 5th, the first week of our show, we're doing Hunger Games 1 and 2. Then week 2, May 12th, we're doing Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back. So the very first Pokemon movie, and Detective Pikachu. Then the third week, May 19th, we're doing all 3 of the John Wick movies because John Wick 3 comes out, and we decided, you know what? Why not?
Yep.
And then our very last one is
Alice Through the Looking Glass and Aladdin.
So, we have some promising movies, I think.
Yeah, we got Pikachu and John Wick.
Yeah.
Which is 4 of the
9
films, yeah. All right.
The original,
we can deal with it.
Last I remember, Hunger Games wasn't terrible.
It's all right. It's not my favorite, I'll admit. So
understandable. So yeah, there's my totally original, amazing poster for our totally original movie month. If you can't tell, I'm being kind of satirical.
Really? Never would have guessed.
I thought for Dragon, why we chose the first 2 I chose the first 2 Hunger Games because I don't want to watch 4 Hunger Game movies in 1 week. I'd rather just watch 2 movies and then watch the last Mockingjay Part 1 and Part 2 for another week.
Some other time.
Yeah. Like, us doing all 3 John Wicks, when there's only 3 movies, it makes it difficult when we do a 2 movie per podcast format. So we could do 3 movies overall. We could do the first 2.
We've done it before too. It's been rough. We've done We've done all 5 Mission Impossible. All 5 Mission Impossible before Fallout. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
And we rated those, which that's another chart I have somewhere in there, buried in my computer.
Yeah.
So yeah, we decided just the first 2 Hunger Games. We'll get to Mockingjay 1 and 2 later on at some point. And then all 3 John Wicks because I personally haven't seen any of the John Wicks, so I'm not gonna watch John Wick 1 and then jump to John Wick 3. I'd rather watch 1, 2, and 3, so I know what's going on.
Yeah, I can agree with that. So
yeah,
and then I mean we're all looking forward to Pikachu. Like, come on,
And-
that the trailers keep selling me more and more on that film. Like, no joke.
I need a hero. I'm only
And
gonna.
he's gotta be strong, and he's gotta be fast, and he's gotta be straight from the fight.
It just sounds way too robot-y. Like it's.
Yeah, I'll admit the it doesn't. It definitely makes me sound robot-y. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah.
So yeah, I don't really have any other news other than Endgame was great, and you should go watch it.
Yep. That's what I got.
Oh hey, they're remaking the original Pokemon movie in CG in Japan.
Yeah, that's something that we found out. Apparently they announced that like February, but we're gonna be
Just now finding out about it now because
yeah,
we looked up the original
Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back, and we're like, oh shit, they're remaking it in 3D CG. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
We'll potentially see that.
and we'll have to read it in English while we're watching it in something else. I don't know. Is there anything else that we want to talk about? Do we want to end this?
Else. This film. Just go see Endgame.
Just go see
please.
Endgame.
I'll probably see it a third time.
I'm
potentially.
definitely gonna see it a second time, if not a third time.
Go see it.
And if you haven't watched the other movies before this,
Doing yourself a disservice.
a little bit. The only one that you don't have to watch this one, I would say, is Captain Marvel.
I'd say Incredible Hulk.
Probably Incredible Hulk. Yeah. So yeah, watch all the other 20 movies, and then watch Avengers Endgame. Then it'll all make sense. So I've got nothing else.
Cool. Make sure to follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
RHQ.
Yep. Twitch. We're here. Give us a like and subscribe and stuff. No, that's YouTube's. So yeah.
Well, yeah, you can follow us on YouTube as well, though.
Exactly. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this week on what was quite possibly, the most action-packed movie possible to review. Ever. So if you liked what you saw, of course, give us a like, give us a follow, with all the other things. We do our shows on Sundays at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here on Twitch. If you like to see more of us on our funny har podcast stuff, you could see Third Player Optional on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or the actual har podcast at 6 p.m. on Thursdays Pacific Standard Time. Yeah, so with that in mind, thank you everyone for joining us today. Hopefully we didn't spoil and ruin everything for you. And we'll see you next time.
Or if you sat through that in shows too, that's on you.
Also true. Otherwise, we will see you next time for another episode of the Creative Be Casual Podcast. Quickly do an Avengers theme for me.
Ba 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 ba.